Well, a very good evening to you, race fans, and welcome to the grand finale of this season of MC Motorsport's French Car Care GT3 Championship, Round 10, here coming to you from the legendary Suzuka Circuit for the final showdown of this season. If this is your first time with us, welcome to Simple Racing Broadcasts. If you are coming back, of course, so it's great to have you back with us tonight. My name is Jared Cole, and I am joined in the booth by Isaac Fogarty to bring you all of the action from this final round of this season. And what a season it has been, Isaac. It's had absolutely everything. And as we get to this 10th round, even though the podium is more or less decided at this stage, I still expect it's going to be some pretty top-notch racing tonight.
Good evening, Jared. Good evening, everyone. This is going to be a really exciting evening of racing. I think, the podium, as I said, pretty much all but determined, but anything can happen at Suzuka tonight, and it's one of the most technical, challenging circuits. There's the fast-flowing first sector, which is completely different to what the final sector is, with all those fast corners and the chicane right at the end. So there's something for everyone in this circuit tonight, and I think we'll see a few surprises maybe getting inside the top 10 this evening, which should make for some exciting racing.
No doubt, and qualifying going on right now. We'll go check out some of that action in just a moment. Tonight's set up, though, a feature round to finish us off for the season, which does mean two races. The first, a sprint race of 13 laps, followed by a 26-lap feature, including a reverse top 10 grid. As always, a 50% fuel cap does apply to these cars. Conditions here are really generally pretty nice, you've got to think. 19 degrees air temp, a bit of humidity around and a slight breeze, but nothing too much to speak of. The track temp, 33 degrees at the moment. We'll keep a close eye on that one as we do come a little bit closer to race time. Before we jump into checking out the qualifying, though, let's take a look at these standings and how we are looking to wrap the season up. And Reece Wakefield leading the standings on 2,310 points. He's carrying the momentum of what has been an absolutely phenomenal season for One Performance Racing, with his teammate Daniel Poulton there in third, and right in between them, Thomas Hinz from HJR Jenks Shifters on 2,206 points. There's very little, with 300 points on offer for the winners tonight, but of course a scaled number of points coming down from that. I cannot come up with a situation or a scenario, Isaac, where any of these three change their position tonight. It just seems, I just can't come up with any scenario in which that doesn't happen, bar an absolutely catastrophic, failure to finish both of the races tonight.
It does seem very set in stone, doesn't it, Jared? I think you look at the gap, it's 104 points from Reece Wakefield to Thomas Hinz, and then about 64 points back from Thomas Hinz to Daniel Poulton. So I don't think there's going to be a massive swing either way for these guys, as long as they sort of keep their wits about them, they keep their head on. And yeah, I don't see anything major happening. You look at Ryan Palmer and Josh Harris, there's 7 points between the ADHD teammates, so there could be a little bit of a swing there, but in competition between those two tonight. They weren't setting the blistering lap times in practice, but we'll wait and see what happens as we get into qualifying very soon. But I think that's pretty much it. The last spot inside the top 5 is the only question mark for me this evening, and it's just between Ryan Palmer and Josh Harris as to who comes out on top for that one.
There are, of course, still a number of minor placings to be battled out and decided as you look further down the top 20, and a number of the drivers here tonight for exactly that reason, to just try and climb that one spot higher for bragging rights more than anything else. It's worth noting, of course, the Amateur Cup's been kind of quietly running along in the background across the course of this season, and Chris Lashbrook is absolutely dominating in that space, so he looks absolutely set to walk away with that tonight. Again, I can't see I can't see even a possible scenario at all, even if he doesn't finish a single race this evening, that would see him lose that AM Cup title. So it's one of those rare occasions where we don't have a real title fight on our hands tonight to keep an eye on, which doesn't hurt us really, does it, Isaac? Because it means we can concentrate on what will be some pretty phenomenal racing rather than trying to do maths in our head as we go.
Yeah, that's right. We don't have to sit and try and crunch the numbers. We can just sit back, relax, and enjoy what will be a super exciting night of racing here at Suzuka, because I guarantee you it's going to be something to watch.
Oh, absolutely will be. There is no doubt at all. With that in mind, the drivers out on track and starting to get underway with qualifying. So let's head on down and say hello and check out just what we've got up our sleeve this evening. We'll start with the soon-to-be officially French Car Care GT3 champion, Reece Wakefield, currently sitting in second, just a few tenths off the back of his teammate. OPR have just been absolutely phenomenally unstoppable this season, haven't they? It's just been something else to watch.
Oh, these guys have just really been the pinnacle of this series from the word go this season. They have been absolutely unstoppable. This man, especially on the screen, Reece Wakefield, he came out on a mission this season, didn't he? As he said, a couple seasons ago he was third, last season he was second, and he said, I really want to go one better, and he was a man on an absolute mission from round one. He has just been super consistent. I don't think he's been outside of the podium or even the top 5 on many occasions this season. He's just been there or thereabouts all the time, scoring really good points, really solid points, and you just see him there in the cockpit, just so focused on what he's doing as he goes through 130R into the final chicane now. And just the amount of focus that is on that man's face, and you can just tell he wants this tonight. And barring any major issues, which we hope don't happen, but barring any major issues, he is our champion.
That said, the time just set. Oh, I take it back immediately. I was about to say, Danny P coming in with a 57 is blisteringly fast. Wakefield and Thomas Yins are both immediately top that time. So, as usual, the top 3 are very, very consistent. And as they sit on the qualifying timings right now, that's exactly how they're sitting in the championship order. So it'll be interesting to see if we do have that kind of result. We've got a dead heat, would you believe, for 4th and 5th at the moment, with Ian Ward and Ryan Palmer, both from ADHD Racing, setting identical times of 1:58.19. 0 tenths, 0 hundredths separating them, 0 thousandths separating them. That is pretty unusual, and look, not a bad thing to see. Ryan Palmer, I hope gets the 4th place, if for no other reason than because it's his bloody birthday, and he should get something tonight. So happy birthday to you, Ryan. Hope you're listening in out there, mate, and we will certainly keep an eye on you throughout this evening's racing, just to see how you're doing across the course of the evening.
So he spent the weekend at Bathurst doing Challenge Bathurst, his last official volunteer event for the year. He likes to get out and he does a lot of the recovery stuff with his dad, which is a lot of fun because he gets to rip around Bathurst, Mount Panorama in a Ford Ranger. And I don't think there's many people that get to say they've had that opportunity. So he spent the weekend doing that, and now he's spending his birthday evening driving a GT3 car on iRacing here, just so he can make sure he gets 5th in the championship. But as he has a massive snap of oversteer there through Spoon, and that'll pretty much throw away that lap time for Brian Palmer. But we'll say it was Cruz McVee's birthday last week at Bathurst, and he had, I wouldn't say the best evening, this man on the screen now, the Qual Cartel driver. So I don't know if birthdays are necessarily a good omen in MC Motorsport.
It doesn't really bode well, does it? Honestly, but, from what we've seen so far, it tends to lead to having a pretty wild and messy kind of an evening, but not in any of the good ways that we should really associate with that. So look, hopefully Ryan's races match up to his qualifying at the moment, and he brings home a decent result. Maybe even, dare I say it, one more race win before the season is out. He'll have to play his cards right, particularly in that second session. But Reece Wakefield, Thomas Yins and Danny P just super quick this evening. Another one worth noting, and really the Qual Cartel cars in general, late entries to the season for most of them, and so haven't really featured in the championship standings. But I tell you what, they have been all over the top end of the pace charts across most of the races they've been in, and it's really just been a few unfortunate moments here and there that's kept them from collecting some slightly better results. Thomas Poole currently sitting in 5th in qualifying, so the pace is certainly there. It's just translating that to race results that's been difficult for this team.
Oh, absolutely. And you look at, especially last week at Bathurst, they had some really good, strong qualifyings, and I believe, I don't want to get this wrong, and I apologize if I do, but it was one of the Liam Tipping or Liam Jensen that ended up with a stomach bug, qualified quite well, and then was very unwell just before the start of the first race and had to withdraw from the evening. So his evening was over before it really even started, despite having such a good qualifying session. And then there was a couple other drivers, including this man on your screen, that was in really strong positions, but just found his way into other people's incidents, and that sent him down the order, and it was just super unfortunate for these guys. But man, they have been super quick, and I'm really looking forward to when we have the GT3 season once again. These guys will get the opportunity to hopefully be in it from the get-go and feature in the championship, because it's really going to be really exciting to see these guys from the start.
Yeah, it absolutely will be. Someone who's had a bit of a rough run over the last few weeks, and he's going to end up just a bit further outside that podium battle than I probably expected from early on, as Hayden Veld. He's had a few rough weeks along the way, and it's really cost him in terms of the championship battle, but he's also struggling a bit with pace tonight in the Lambo, sitting down in 12th, which is incredibly unusual for this driver. Hayden is usually right up there with pace, so Suzuka just not really gelling for him at the moment. Now that said, qualifying pace and race pace are two entirely different things, so I think we'll have to keep an eye on him throughout the field. And I've got a soft spot for the Lamborghinis, so of course I want to see it climb up through there. Hopefully it converts for him.
Oh, we can only hope. We'd love to see the Lambo up further. I don't know whether the Lambo is one of those cars that's necessarily suited to this track. It's hard to tell because there is only the one Lamborghini in the field, so it's really difficult to know whether this is a track-specific thing or whether this is just Hayden Veld struggling a bit with pace around here in general. Obviously, the man that was the backwards at McPhillamy Park last week famously lost his rear wing and ended up backwards by the time he got to the wall, so he was doing a bit of reshaping of the
upside down and then upright, and then upside down, then upright.
He was doing a bit of roly-poly, a bit of playing in the sand pit, so hopefully there's a lot less of that this week.
Yeah, fingers crossed he has a better run. Danny P sets a fastest 5th sector. Was kind of hard to keep track of just the sheer number of sectors in the around Suzuka, but does set a good sector in there, but not enough to improve his time a great deal. We're down to very, very low 57s at the top end of the tower, so we are in for an absolutely cracking race. Alex Sekas is just quietly making his way up through the rankings at the moment for JMR and Motorsport Racing. He's sort of been there a lot of this season and just hasn't quite again converted it to the race results he'd probably like. But do expect him to put in a good showing this evening as well, I'm sure. The other man who we'll definitely speak to later on this evening is Mitch Curry, who's just jumped back to pits and won't jump to his car right at the moment. But he's really started to shine after getting into the Ferrari, and it's been working beautifully for him for the last few weeks. It'll be interesting to see with a full season what that might end up doing for him in terms of the championship next time around.
He just seems so comfortable behind the wheel of the Ferrari, doesn't he? Last week at Bathurst, he was one of those people that got a bit unlucky with incidents, and I think there was a clip of him facing backwards just after the dipper at one point. He was not facing the correct way at all. But again, he seems right at home in that Ferrari, much more comfortable than he was in the BMW, which is really, really exciting, really promising to see what he can do with a full season behind the wheel of that thing, because he's getting super comfortable. Another guy that maybe not been quite where he wants to be this season, but is hopefully going to show that tonight, sitting in 8th place, is this man on screen, Charlie Milliken. He's been a bit up and down. We saw glimpses of him, I guess, throughout the season, but hasn't quite been the showing I'm sure he would have wanted. Hopefully, with the Race on Oz driver in the Mercedes, has a full run at it next season and can use this pace that he's showing so far here tonight, sitting in 8th place.
And speaking of being a bit off the pace, Josh Harris unusually slow tonight. This is very, very unlike the ADHD driver. As we see a 56.999 from Wakefield, he's finally cracked through the 57 barrier. That is blindingly fast around Suzuka. So I'm very curious to see what we get in this first race and just how far that gap might open up with him out in front in a bit of clear air. Josh Harris just really struggling to put together a qualifying lap as he comes into the pits again. Sitting down in 17th, it's not something you see too often from him. He's usually somewhere up around his teammates here with Ian Ward and Ryan Palmer, both sitting pretty much smack bang in the middle of the top 10. Not to mention Chris Lashbrook, still absolutely smashing it out in that Mustang, sitting in 4th at the moment. He has absolutely found his pace here at Suzuka. And with just a few seconds left in this qualifying session, it's hard to think that we won't see an ADHD driver somewhere in that top 10 as qualifying does come to an end and we get ready to go racing for race number 1, our 13-lap sprint race. Anything can happen here. Yeah, who knows what's ahead, but we're about to find out. We'll go through the grid, and it is a fairly small grid tonight compared to what we've seen throughout the season. It's headed up by Reece Wakefield and Thomas Hinds on the front row, then Danny P and Chris Lashbrook behind them on row 2. Ian Ward and Ryan Palmer line up alongside each other on row 3, then Thomas Kuhl and Alex Zekas in 7th and 8th. Charlie Milliken and Hayden Veld round out the rest of your top 10. Mitchell Curry and Brad Coates behind them with Jackson Austin and Dean Powell on row 7, then Cruz McPhee and Liam Jensen ahead of Josh Harris and Brian East, with Brendan Purcell the last driver to set a time in qualifying. Liam Tipping not setting a time will show at the back of the grid, but will of course be starting ahead of our race control team. We've got Nathan, we've got Isaac, we've got Scott, and we've got Pete all in race control this evening for this final round, and hoping that we don't need to actually bring them out onto track if we're lucky. G'day Mitch Wiley, good to have you in the chat, mate. Hope you're doing well. Welcome on in for the final round here of the French Car Care GT3 Championship. This season comes to an end here tonight at Suzuka, and we've got plenty of racing still in store as we head on down to the track in just a moment for the drivers to get race 1 underway. It's look, it should be, I imagine, a pretty hectic sprint. 13 laps around Suzuka. It kind of sounds like a lot, but it's going to go by in a flash.
This will go by so quickly. It says, for a feature round that, the first race is 25 minutes, the second race is 50 minutes. I guarantee you it does not feel that long, especially when you're in the car. This 13 laps is going to feel like 13 minutes, the way there's going to be so much action for these guys here, there, and everywhere this evening. And they're all getting on the grid now, so I'd say we're not too far away from getting this underway. I think we're waiting for just a handful of cars to find their way to the grid, and there is the man on pole, the champion-elect, if you will, Reece Wakefield. He's pretty much done everything he needs to do so far to tick all the boxes. He's starting on pole position. He's just got to walk away with this one. I reckon it's pretty much sewn up.
Yeah, and even if he doesn't, I can't see that there's, like we said earlier, I can't see any combination, particularly with such a small field tonight. I mean, the worst that any of those front three, Wakefield, Hinton, and Poulton, can finish tonight is essentially, 20th is the worst result you can get. And at that point, you're still going to pick up enough points towards the championship that it'll keep you in the hunt regardless. The only way for us to see any change tonight at the top of the championship table, I would think, is for one of those three drivers to not see the checkered flag in either of these two races, because if you don't see the checkered flag, you get 0 points, and that's a really important distinction. If it wasn't for that, there would be absolutely no way for the order to change. It's not impossible at this stage, but you would have to think that it seems pretty unlikely. Regardless, it is time for us to get underway here at Suzuka for the sprint race here tonight. Round 10 about to kick off. The lights go out and we're underway. Reece Wakefield leads the way. A brilliant start also from Ian Ward and Ryan Palmer immediately behind as this field heads on down towards turn 1. And we get piled up with 3 wide and a big slide from Ian Ward as he goes very far off the track. He does recover it beautifully though. So impressive work from him to pull that back into line. He will drop a long way down the order though. Wakefield, Hinds, Lashbrook up into 3rd ahead of Daniel Poulton. So he's made a move already. Ryan Palmer right there with him, and Alex Zekas sticking it to the back like glue. And we're just starting to get ourselves sorted out as we come through the snake for the first time. And look at that line of GT3 cars. It's a beautiful thing.
Oh, such a lovely shot, isn't it? Just the snake of cars as they slither through, if you will, the snake for the first time. And now we're down towards the back end of the circuit, and it is Reece Wakefield crucially leading the way over Thomas Hinds. But what a start from Chris Lashbrook. He got himself up into the podium places right off here. Got the best of Daniel Poulton and Ian Ward. He did really well to catch that. Up the inside goes Hayden Veld, so he's getting the moves done early here to try and move up this field, and now he can see his sights on. You see someone in the background.
Dean Power find themselves backwards on the way out of the hairpin. Now, thankfully, somehow, everyone's managed to avoid it now. I've got no idea how that's happened, but a really, really impressive bit of driving from everyone out on track to allow that to happen as we get into Spoon. And it's such an oddly named corner, it honestly is. It looks nothing like a spoon, but anyhow, we're here for it. And we're side by side down the run here with Lashbrook and Danny P. Danny P's going to have the inside run here as we get through and down towards Casio now in just a couple of corners time to complete this first lap. And you can see Lashbrook just pushing up the inside and his teammate going with him. Ryan Palmer sensing an opportunity. We've got one of the Thomas Kuhl who's run off the track there. He's just got it all sorts of wrong into the chicane. And we are settling on in now as we get into racing proper. Tell you what, lap around Suzuka goes quick.
And I think Hayden Veld's lost out massively. He's down in 19th now, so he had an off track as well, and he's ended up right down the back of the field. So all that hard work he did to get up into 6th place has now come right undone, and now he has to work twice as hard to get back through this field, and now sets up to Brian Purcell to try and get back into 17th place, because that's gonna absolutely sting. But Chris Lashbrook, he now has a rear view mirror full of Mercedes. He's got Daniel Poon and Ryan Palmer both sitting right in behind him. Alex Zekas not too far off the back of this group as well. Mitch Curry up into 7th place, Bob Study up 4 spots, and Jackson Austin up 5 spots as well for Race on Oz. So the 2 Ferraris actually performing really well at this stage. They're finding some pace early here.
We go back and take a look on the iRacing Designs replay. Just what happened to Hayden Veld? A big dive there, and there's going to be contact for sure. Veld just gets absolutely belted. I don't know what happened to Thomas Kuhl there, but it looked as though he just didn't have brakes, or I've got no idea. He went for the dive, and then I don't
Just
know.
couldn't stop it.
I don't know what that was. Whether there was a hardware issue or something else entirely. But in any case, it's ended up with both Kuhl and Veld right down the back of the track, with only Dean Power behind them. And at the front end, the gap's starting to open up already. Reece Wakefield and Thomas Hinds just starting to separate themselves. We're only just coming to the end of the 2nd lap here, and already they're out to 2.5 seconds over the chasing pack. Thomas Hinds is going to have to work really, really hard to stick with Wakefield here, because Wakefield's already starting to open up just enough that he might find himself outside of the reach of Hinds behind in the slipstream as they make their way down the front straight. And here they all come. A 158.1 for Wakefield, a 158.3 for Hinds. There's a minute Thomas Hinds is going to lose touch here very, very quickly if he doesn't get a bit of a move on. And then the following pack, Chris Lashbrook doing a brilliant job to hold Danny P at bay for the moment. Ryan Palmer has a big slide, manages to put together a little bit of contact there with Alex Zekas. Loses the front bar. Thankfully, Zekas relatively unaffected, and Palmer's going to drop down into 9th. That's not quite what he would have hoped for. And Mitch Curry now off the side of the track as well, as he finds these cold tyres still not quite up to temp. This is the challenge, isn't it, Isaac? The new GT3 tyres, they're not so new anymore, but it's so easy to forget that they take such a long time to get up to temperature.
Yeah, it's such a different time model. I'm just wondering if Mitch Curry maybe got a bit of a helping hand there as a result of the bottleneck that was created with this Ryan Palmer incident, which again, that's super easy to do, especially on these tyres as well. We've seen time and time again just how easy it is for drivers to forget that, you have to spend time getting these tyres up to temperature. Same with a real life tyre. Up the inside for the Koala Cartel car, Cruz McVee very late on Ian Ward, and he just sort of forced the issue there, didn't he? He said, I'm going to enter.
That was Harrison Jensen.
Liam Jensen.
Harrison Jensen.
Yes, I apologise.
There's such a group here of ADHD and Koala Cartel cars that's trying to tell them apart, particularly when they're all driving the same model. As Milliken gets it all sorts of messed up under brakes and manages to keep on track, but will lose 4 positions. The absolute gaggle here in the mid-pack of ADHD and Koala Cartel cars. It looks great, don't get me wrong, but it does make it a little bit hard to pick out who's who in amongst all of it. Have a look at the train forming up now, though.
Yeah, look at this train as they start. So all this battling between the Koala Cartel and ADHD cars has resulted in a bottleneck starting to form. Up the inside goes Charlie Milliken side by side with Liam Jensen, trying to force the issue. He wants to get back past after losing a couple spots there from an earlier incident at Spoon. I think he's got it done. Will Liam Jensen, I think, about a move into turn 1? Not too sure. This is where we saw Ryan Palmer get loose last time around. Again, so easy to do on these cold tyres. You have to take time to get these tyres up to temperature, don't you? It's like a real-life GT3 tyre. They talk about how in real life they have to do 2 or 3 laps before the tyres are really at proper temperature. And I think that's more the case with these tyres. It's more simulating that real life effect of having to put effort into getting temperature into these tyres rather than just go out and the tyre's already up to temp.
And I can tell you from seeing a few different approaches to that over the season of GT3 racing that we've had across a couple of leagues here on Simple, the drivers that really pull away from the field are those who can find that pace on a cold tyre. It's not impossible to do, it's just really, really hard to do it well. But it makes such a massive difference if you do manage to find the cold tyre balance for your particular car. You've seen drivers over those first 2 or 3 laps open up massive gaps, and you're seeing that out in front with Wakefield and Hinds 4.5 seconds back to Chris Lashbrook from those two now. It really speaks to their ability on a cold tyre and what they can start to open up. You won't see that gap open up as much from here through the rest of the race, purely because with the tyres all up to temp, that advantage is gone.
Absolutely. Now that as everyone's tyres start to come up, the lap times start to equalise, and everyone can sort of find that, extract that pace because the tyres are at temperature. But you're right. The drivers who can be quick on a cold tyre are the drivers that get the most benefit at the start of a race. And I definitely think Ryan Palmer is one of those drivers that can be super fast on a cold tyre, but he's also very aggressive, and into turn one, that is the last thing you want to be because it's so easy to lose the car on a cold tyre. And aggressive is a good thing most of the time, but when you need to be very gentle, and especially through turn one where you're carrying a lot of speed, you're on the brakes, and braking and turning in these cars isn't necessarily its favourite thing to do. It likes to brake in a straight line, so as that's Mitch Curry having a little bit of a think about a move on Brian East. But yeah, these cars like to brake in a straight line. They do not like to brake in a corner. So doing that on cold tyres is really asking a lot of it. And Ryan Palmer found out the hard way that's not going to fly around here with these cars.
No, Suzuka will absolutely punish you if you get that wrong here. As we look forward to the battle for third, Chris Lashbrook and Danny P still rolling along at the moment. They've really separated themselves out from Alex Zekas, who sits a few seconds further back now. And just a standalone battle going on here, as there is out in front with Wakefield and Hinds also just completely on their own here around the Suzuka Circuit. 5 and a bit seconds ahead of Lashbrook and Poulton, and then another 3 seconds back from Poulton to Alex Zekas. It's just 3 completely different races going on here. You've got these two out in front. You've got Lashbrook battling it out with Danny P a little further back, and then you've got the rest of the field, and a whole lot of them all bunched up here in what is a battle for pretty well 7th or 8th. You know, Brad Coates, Ryan Palmer, Ian Ward, Chris McPhee in there, Josh Harris and Charlie Milliken, the 2 Liams from Koala Cartel, Tipping and Jensen in 13th and 14th. It's just a completely different race in this mid-pack.
Oh, absolutely. It's such a it's such a different strategy to what you'd be doing at the front of the field here, because if you're Reece Wakefield and Thomas Hinds, probably managing a little bit, whereas in this mid-pack, you're in people's dirty air, you're in slipstream, you've got overheating front tyres, you're pushing really hard, so your rear tyres are probably also a little bit overheated, over-pressurised, and there's lots to think about here. You're looking behind you, you're looking in front of you. Look at this train of cars from Ryan Palmer all the way back to Liam Tipping, and even Liam Jensen not too far off the back of that train. This is Tipping and Milliken. Tipping out a little bit of think about it into turn one, but yeah, look at this, just look at them in front, trying to find a little bit of cool air, trying to find a way past these drivers, because the last thing you want to do is be someone that's like an Ian Ward or a Cruz McVie here and just stuck in the middle of the train with a bunch of dirty air, a bunch of hot air, and overheating those front tyres and brakes.
The real risk here, we've got to be honest, is ADHD on ADHD violence. That is something that happens often enough across these seasons, that it's something to actually be conscious of. And Ian Ward has got the move done on Ryan Palmer. Palmer's just struggling with the pace now that he doesn't have that front bar on. And Cruz McVie is going to be looking to go through as well. Palmer goes very, very defensive to the inside of the hairpin, and behind him Josh Harris, who incidentally has found that pace here in race conditions. He wasn't there in qualifying. He's up 6 positions now since the start, up into 11th. And he's looking to try and follow Cruz McVie through as well. I think Ryan Palmer may have suffered a little bit more damage in that collision than we thought, and is just really struggling to get this car turning and performing the way that he'd really like it to.
And I think it's very much the same for Hayden Veld as well. I think both these guys have had really unfortunate clashes. Hayden Veld obviously with the wall at the outside of the final chicane, and he seems to be struggling with pace a lot as well. He's quite out of touch, 6 seconds behind Dean Powell in the 93 car. So he's struggling for pace right down the back of the pack, and Ryan Palmer clearly struggling as he looks to Cruz McVee, looks to the outside, trying to make that stick. That becomes the inside for the second phase of this chicane. They're still side by side. Look at the room and respect shown by these two, but still racing each other hard. Now Josh Harris is going to invite himself into the party. Ryan Palmer is hugging that inside wall. Cruz McVee has boxed him in. They have boxed in Josh Harris, who has no way out. He's a lion backed into a corner here. Cannot. Oh, there's contact, and Cruz McVee catches it. That was a massive slide, front left to rear right contact between Harris and McVee. And McVee, I think he did really well not to end up facing backwards there at the end of turn one.
Yeah, brilliant save, but he will be absolutely fuming with that one. Got a couple of maybe not so well-intentioned nudges there from Josh as Harris tried to just create a bit of room for himself to pull away from that wall, and fair enough, probably feeling a little bit claustrophobic. But now Harris and Palmer side by side. Palmer drops in behind, and Harris will continue on, and Palmer at this stage really playing a blocking role to just try and give his teammate out in front a little bit of breathing room over this gaggle of Koala Cartel cars. Charlie Millican will be just blinded behind him. 3 yellow Aston Martins in a row. Liam Jensen, Cruz McVee, Liam Tipping, all right there. The team entries in 12th, 13th and 14th are looking for a way to get back up to challenge again. The ADHD entries that are running in a line as well, just ahead, and not quite as in a row though, but Ian Ward leads them out. So you've got the 3 Mercs here, you've got the 3 Koala Cartels, Astons behind, and Charlie Millican in the middle is probably wondering where on earth his teammates are.
Look, yeah, I'm Charlie Millican's thinking, where is everybody? Everyone else has got backup here. I don't know where my backup is, but he's definitely wondering why he's out there all on his own. Mick Curry up the inside of Brian. He's got that move done nice and easy. Makes that look quite simple through 130. But the elbows are still off in the background here. Charlie Millican is chopping it from the Koala Cartel drivers at the moment. They're both going to invite themselves to the party. All 3 of them could invite themselves to the party here to try and find their way past Charlie Millican. He is absolutely being, I think the professional term is ganged up on here, but somehow he's come out in front of all 3 of them.
I have no idea how Millican saved that. He was getting barged all over the tracks and door-to-door contact there from Jensen, and Millican's just held his ground and has positioned that car beautifully to make the pass impossible. The 3 Astons are just helpless at the moment to try and find a way through. They'll continue to work away at this, but Millican standing strong in the face of some huge opposition for P11. You wouldn't usually think there'd be quite this much battling going on this far back in the pack, but tonight, as always, great racing right up and down throughout the pack. We'll check in on our leaders because Lashbrook and Danny P, they've had a few moments getting close together. Danny just reeling Lashbrook in here and there, but the Mustang finding that extra pace when it really counts will keep him in the game at the moment. Danny P, though, looking very, very threatening here as we head on down towards Spoon. Can he get up the inside? Doesn't look like he's close enough to make anything of it now, but he'll be thinking ahead to the Casio chicane. Can he actually get close enough to be alongside, threatening a long run here? He's got a full advantage of the slipstream in behind, pokes the nose out. He's looking to the outside. Lashbrook's going very, very defensive here, just sitting in the middle and just gently drifts across in front of Poulton. They go high speed through the left. The sparks fly as the bodywork touches down on the bitumen, and Lashbrook doing an absolutely brilliant job of keeping Danny P exactly where he is.
Oh, he's just doing brilliantly, isn't he? He's not letting Daniel Poulton get away with absolutely anything here. He is driving out of his skin today to defend from the man that sits 3rd in this championship, and this is an excellent drive. This will be one of the best drives Chris Lashbrook has ever put on. Even if it all goes backwards now, which we really hope it doesn't. I'm going to touch wood that it doesn't, but even if it does, he will still see this as one of his best drives. The way he has battled with one of the heavyweights of this series.
Yeah, and you look at Lashbrook's defensive work, it's actually pretty next level. For an amateur entry this time around, he's doing some brilliant driving, putting his car not all the way to the most defensive position, but just far enough into defending that it's really making life difficult for Danny P without actually costing Lashbrook a huge amount of time, and that is some seriously mature driving from Chris Lashbrook. We'll jump up front though, because Thomas Hinds is starting to really challenge Reece Wakefield. These guys, again, continue to be in a world of their own. 7, almost 8 seconds up the road now as we make our way around on lap 9 of 13 of this sprint race, and Hinds finally starting to just make inroads into Wakefield's lead. He keeps threatening that rear bar, keeps challenging, and we'll be hoping for an opportunity to maybe just squeeze past here. But at the moment, Wakefield just getting that drive out of the corners. That Mercedes so well dialed in, as it has been all season, and it continues to really just frustrate Thomas Hinds. He just cannot quite get close enough to set up for one of these moves.
No, look, he's got the pace, he's got the fastest lap of the race now. He's been fast for the last couple laps, but he just hasn't been close enough to make anything stick so far on the championship leader, and that's the hard part. It's one thing to, have the pace to range right up to the back, as we see Daniel Paul almost going to the back of Chris Lashbrook there. He did very well to pull that up with the speed difference, but again, as we're seeing with this situation as well, it's one thing to sit right behind, there's another thing to try and get past it, what is a notoriously difficult circuit to overtake, and Chris Lashbrook goes defensive, covers the inside line. This will compromise his run into turn 1, though he's going to have to slow down a little bit more than he probably would like. Saw the car get a little bit loose on entry there, and I think he's managed just to drive very nicely. It's a very clean defensive driving from Chris Lashbrook, and again, it's putting all the onus back on Daniel Polton, because it's so hard to overtake around here that he has to really commit and put in a very bold move if he wants to try and get past.
Lashbrook is making that Mustang about 17 metres wide at the moment. No matter where Danny P throws that Mercedes, there is a Mustang body part of some sort in front of him. It's a huge, huge drive from Lashbrook, and he's going to need to keep it up for another few laps yet. Have a look at this group. Again, backing together. The only change back here at the moment is actually, well, we see Ryan Palmer starting to drop off now, so he is struggling. But Mitch Curry has also made his way up. He actually made his move past Thomas Poole a little while ago, and has joined onto the back. So Poole's dropped right off the back, almost 3 seconds now. As we see Cruz McVie starting to look for another opportunity to have a go at Milliken and start chasing down those ADHD cars. Ryan Palmer, for his part, almost looked like he was going to send it up the inside. Probably not the ideal time or place to be trying it on, but as we get towards the late stages, Ryan Palmer picks up a black flag. So a black flag there is a just checking the notifications from race control. I don't believe that's actually a race control issued flag. I believe that is incidents related. So that's
Okay.
when you think about the number of contacts that Ryan Palmer's had already tonight, the number of slides and off tracks, it's not surprising he's already run up enough to earn himself a drive-through here on the sprint race, but that will effectively end his night. So close to the end, he's going to have no time at all to try and recover.
Yeah, no, super disappointing for Ryan Palmer. It's right towards the end of this race, not a lot of opportunity for coming back through the field. But the positive thing is he comes in pit lane, is that we get to go again for 26 laps very soon. So there will be a whole new opportunity for him to have a crack at that and run once again. But yeah, super disappointing for him. And this is his teammate Ian Ward finding his way past Brad Coates at a circuit. It's actually a circuit I wouldn't typically think you could overtake, and I think Brad just sort of
got it all sorts
saw
of
that one
there,
coming in.
didn't he?
Yeah. Just,
way offline, and Ian cruised on through. I think Brad saw the writing on the wall and decided it was better to just let him come through and then try and follow him and catch it back up on the other side, as Mitch Curry continues to hassle Liam Jensen in that Koala Cartel Aston Martin. The Ferrari just all over him. It's been sitting there chipping away at this lead lap after lap after lap, and just can't quite get there at the moment. But Jensen has been very, very distracted by it. He'll start to really fall away from his teammate McVie just up ahead.
Yeah, he's not been able to keep up. So the Koala Cartels are starting to separate a little bit. Dean Powell has crashed, according to the race control information that we have, and we're getting a replay of that now. So this is Dean Powell.
Just gets off onto the grass and bang, big hit into the corner of that wall.
Massive hit. That's so easy to do. You just touch the grass on the turn and it just throws the car. There goes the bonnet. Don't need that either.
dragging that
cool,
front
if you don't
right.
mind.
Just has destroyed the suspension
Broken.
there. So he's going to be lucky to get that back to the pits, but he's doing a good job. When sparks fly, looks impressive. Definitely not the suspension angles that you generally expect from a GT3 car.
No, definitely not the. I don't think any part of that car is what you'd expect from a GT3 car. Maybe the rear end looks like a bit of a GT3 car, but again, I wouldn't be absolutely sure until you've gotten up close with the microscope and had a nice good look at it. But we're back to this battle for the lead. Reece Wakefield, Thomas Hinds, he's having one more crack at it. He won't get many more opportunities after this. This is penultimate lap, so we'll get the white flag next time by. So this is coming down to crunch time for Thomas Hinds to try and just give himself the opportunity to stay in the fight by getting more points than Reece Wakefield. Obviously, it's a tall order, it's a tall ask for Thomas Hinds to win this championship, but if he finishes behind Reece Wakefield here, I don't think he's going to have any chance at all, really, even if things do go wrong for Reece in the second race.
No, it would really require, at this point, Wakefield essentially popping his motor and not crossing the finish line for the end of session to make the points make any difference for Hinds here. Now, these are not V8 supercars. Their motors tend to be a little more resistant to damage from the downshifts. So I can't imagine we're going to see that happen. In fact, I can't even think of the last time I saw an engine blow on a GT3 car short of it being punted very, very aggressively into a wall. It doesn't seem to happen any other way for these. Ryan Palmer under massive pressure from both Tipping and East. He's desperately trying to hold on for just a few extra points here if he can manage them. Tipping's going to throw everything at him at the moment. What is worth noting is that Danny P has gotten past Chris Lashbrook. Lashbrook put up an amazing fight for so many laps, but unfortunately has succumbed. And Danny P goes ahead. And I can take a quick look at that one because it's been coming for a while. Lashbrook just gets it a little bit wrong, and Danny P has the better positioning on the way into the Casio triangle and gets his nose in front. And from there, he's just started to walk away, opening the gap up already to a second and a half, which really tells you just how brilliant of a job Lashbrook was doing to hold him up. Danny P clearly the faster driver, and yet couldn't get through.
Yeah, you can just see the clear pace difference from those from Danny P over Chris Lashbrook. And again, as you said, it just paints a picture on just how good a job that Chris Lashbrook was doing in making that car as wide as possible. Ryan Palmer is really getting the elbows out here. They've gone into the chicane so deep, and Brian East is going to come back on at a really awkward time. Nice, I think that was Liam Tipping came up on a really awkward time, but we just came back to really the latter part of that overtake between Liam Tipping and Ryan Palmer. It was really just gloves off, wasn't it? They were either side of each other. Ryan was trying to run him out of room, and they both ended up in tears for them because they both ended up running wide at that chicane. So this is really gloves off between these three now. And the last spot inside the top 15 is anyone's. I don't think Ryan Palmer has the pace. It's more that he's just trying to throw everything at it. But Liam Tipping, he's getting the gloves off to get inside that top 15.
Meanwhile, as we go back to the front, Reece Wakefield looks pretty set here as he extends the lead just a little further, almost a half second on the run down what we'll call the back straight, although there's a couple that you could, I suppose, call the back straight here at Suzuka. But on the run down, he's maintaining that 4/10. That's going to be more than enough. And I expect that he'll make it through this final chicane fairly comfortably, really, as he comes on through. Beautifully executed. Thomas Hinds right behind him. The finish line very, very short here, and so Reece Wakefield will come across the line. Thomas Hinds just a few tenths further back. Danny P a long way back. He's just coming around the corner now, so he'll come across the line in third place. Lashbrook, for his part, a brilliant drive to come home in fourth, and almost 5 seconds ahead of Alex Zekas, who comes across the line now. Jackson Austin a second further back. And then we're just going to get them coming through in dribs and drabs here, more or less. Ian Ward, Brad Coates, Josh Harris leads a fairly tight battle, but in the end, not much that could be done there. Mitch Curry coming home in 13th ahead of Thomas Gould, who probably rightfully should have been a little further up had he not had a few moments there across the evening. The last ones to come home will be Liam Tipping and co here. Tipping is just ahead of Brian East, but can't imagine East is going to pull anything magical out here as Tipping comes across the line. East in 16th. Ryan Palmer crosses in 17th. And then Haydenveld has just had a nightmare of an evening tonight. He's really, really struggled with this Lamborghini, and hopefully can find just something else up his sleeve for race number 2, because he's going to be starting all the way back in 18th. And spare a thought for Dean Powell, who has used the fast repair, has that car back on track, and will see the checkered flag. A really important thing, though, isn't it, to get back out there and make sure you do secure some points, even if it's not perhaps what you would have liked. He's still going to see the checkered flag and actually come home with a few points in the bag.
Absolutely, it's so crucial to just bring home some points, because that can be the difference between gaining and losing a spot in the championship in the grand scheme of things. So that is a great job from Dean Powell to get that back out there, cross the line. And there is your 1-2. It's one Performance Racing 1 and 2 in that race. Well, not 1 and 2, sorry, 1 and 3. And I'll do a little bit of a 1-2 sort of drive along together, get the team photo, put that on the socials, get that as the lock screen on the computer, because that's a lovely shot for them to finish on a double podium.
Absolutely,
for the second last race here for the season.
And honestly, the podium just reads once again like the championship standings. It's been so consistent from all of these drivers right throughout the 10 rounds. Reece Wakefield comes home in first by 3/10 over Thomas Hinz. Danny P ends up 10 seconds back from his teammate, which is really just again a massive drive from Chris Lashbrook, defensively speaking, to hold Danny P back for so long. Danny only made it past, with a lap and a half to go, something like that, and has opened up almost a further 3 seconds gap over Chris Lashbrook. So for Lashbrook to have held him at bay for that long is just super, super impressive. It's great to see. Alex Zekas comes home in 5th ahead of Jackson Austin, and Ian Ward and Brad Coates, with Josh Harris and Charlie Milliken rounding out your top 10. So we'll, of course, see that reverse top 10 grid for race number 2. Chris McVie just misses out, as does Liam Jensen. Look at the bunching of those Koala Cartel cars. Just no luck at all tonight, and ended up fighting between themselves more than anything else. Mitch Curry inserts himself squarely in the middle in P13, but otherwise a bit of a rough night for a couple of drivers. Haydenveld and Dean Powell in particular find themselves right down the back and have a lot of work to do for race number 2.
That's all to do for Ryan Palmer, Haydenveld and Dean Powell. So I'm just doing the maths in my head as well. It was a 7-point gap between Josh Harris and Ryan Palmer, and it's about a 14-point swing in favour of Josh Harris. So Josh Harris now 7 points clear of Ryan Palmer in 5th spot in the championship. So now the onus goes on back to Ryan Palmer to come from 17th on the grid to try and gain 7 points over his teammate to finish ahead and get that top 5 spot back in the championship. And again, the curse of the birthday continues, because as we know, it's Ryan Palmer's birthday, and he qualified well, which so did Cruz McVie last week. He qualified well and then just couldn't get it together, couldn't string it together in the races. So hopefully Ryan Palmer can break the birthday curse in this second race, and we'll see him move forward.
And you know what? I'm kind of inclined to just to surprise him a little here. So why not? Let's go ahead and drag him on in, shall we? Why not? Why not? As we pull him on in, Ryan Palmer, how are you, my friend?
Yeah, you know.
not the race you were probably hoping for, but mate, all the same, we thought you'd bring you on in and say a very, very big happy birthday to you, mate.
I appreciate it. Thanks, bro.
No pressure, but we want to see a race win in race 2 again this week. You reckon you got it in you from all the way back there?
I don't know.
I'm not feeling your usual confidence,
Look,
mate. It's
it's Suzuka. Anything can happen. Like, I had a bit of a mishap into turn 1 and then got collected by Alex, and then it was kind of just damage control then, you know, trying to see what I can do with the result, and then, yeah, I don't know, it just kept sucking, and then I got an X because it just had so much understeer. It was ridiculous. Like, I was lifting through 130R and people were just monstering me there, so...
Yeah, it did look from up here like you were struggling a fair bit with the handling after those couple of early ones. So that's it's good to know that we still know what we're talking about up here, Isaac.
It's nice that we're not completely redundant up here when it comes to talking about race cars. I've got to ask you, Ryan. So I'm talking about my theory is it's the curse of the birthday, right? Cruz McVie struggled last week. You're falling under the victim of the curse of the birthday this week. You're going to try and break the curse in this second race. So we're going to move forward, and you got to beat Josh Harris. He's now 7 points ahead of you in the championship, so you got to swing it back the other way and get some points on him to finish back with swap.
Well, yeah, he's starting P2. I'm starting P something down the end, but we'll see. So got a couple of koala cars in front of me, so yeah, we'll see how they go. But yeah, tried to do my best, but you know, I tried to pull out the Minister of Defence, and I think it worked a little bit, so that's all right. Till the old Ryan Wood therapy, so but.
Well, chin up, mate. You've still got a bunch of laps ahead of you. 26 to go. We'll let you get in and get locked in there, mate. Best of luck in the feature race tonight.
Nah. Cheers, boys. Thanks for tonight.
Ryan Palmer there jumped on in, and I'll send him on back to where he came from in just a moment. Hopefully that's the right room. It's not, so I'd better fix it up and drop him into the right one now. There we go. We are just about ready to get underway. Yeah, just leave him in a room on his own, just talking to himself for a while. Yeah. What could possibly go wrong? We're about to get underway for the second race here tonight. 26 laps lie ahead. The temps on track have come down a bit. 23 degrees the track temp here as we get to the end of the warm-up session. But as we get an update on that, 34 degrees, so a bit of heat back into the track with a bit of action going on in the warm-up there. So that's gonna make life interesting. It'll help get the tyres up to temp, but it also might mean they start to go off just a little bit sooner. Let's go and take a look at the grid for race number 2 here. 26 laps ahead, Charlie Milliken and Josh Harris take the front row. Brad Coates and Ian Ward behind them, then Jackson Austin and Alex Zekas. Chris Lashbrook will start just ever so slightly ahead of Danny P, and so he's got a big job to do if he wants to put on a similar defensive effort, and he's also going to have to watch for Thomas Hins and Reece Wakefield, who will be starting at the back of the 10. Then as we move back through the field, Cruz McPhee and Liam Jensen will be ahead of Mitchell Curry and Thomas Gould. Liam Tipping and Brian East line up ahead of Ryan Palmer and Hayden Veld, with Dean Powell and Brendan Purcell rounding out the 20 drivers on track this evening. It's a small field, but plenty going on through race 1, and the question here really will be, how much does strategy come into it in the second race? We know it's a 50% fuel cap. We know that there's going to be pit stops happening. The only question is who's going in first and when, or are they waiting for a safety car? I don't know if we're going to see one tonight.
Oh, look, with the small field we have, I don't know if a safety car will be something that we see this evening. It's certainly something to think about. I don't know if it's going to factor in the equation. As you said, higher track temperature for this race, 34 degrees. There has to be a lot of thought given to following other cars here, because if you get stuck behind another car, you've got the higher track temperature, so the tyres are going to heat up a lot faster in that dirty air with the higher track temps. It's going to make it a lot harder to look after that tyre, a lot easier to chew through the tyre, which will mean you have to come in sooner and you lose that advantage that you might have. So expect to see a lot of cars maybe trying to do a bit of an attack and then drop back strategy to give themselves a bit of clean air to cool the tyre down, so they range up, have a bit of a attempt at overtaking. If they can't get it, they'll pull back. So we'll keep a close eye on that one, because track temp and tyre wear is going to be a big factor in this race.
Yeah, a couple of drivers just waiting to grid at the moment. We're just hanging out for the last of them. My prediction here for this launch, Isaac, keep your eye on the ADHD cars on the inside. Ian Ward and Josh Harris, both pretty handy getting these things moving off the line, and what they're really going to want to do is get themselves out in front of Milliken and Brad Coates into turn 1, just to give a little bit of extra buffer, to give Danny P, Thomas Hins, Reece Wakefield just a couple of extra cars to try and make their way through before they start to attack up front. If Harris and Ward don't get that sort of a start here, then it's going to make a massive difference. I reckon within probably about 2 laps, we're going to see Hins, Wakefield, Danny P, Chris Lashbrook starting to really want to move up through this field. So keep your eye very, very firmly on the tower for the 8th, 9th and 10th. And look, we'll throw Chris Lashbrook in there as well in 7th. Just to check them off the start as we get our lights up and get ready to go racing here. 26 laps lie ahead. The final race of the French Car Care GT3 Championship season, and we are underway. And a brilliant start there from Chris Lashbrook, who jumped immediately up the middle. Huge launch in the Mustang. Alex Zekas proving difficult for the OPR cars to get past, and that's going to be great news for Lashbrook. Brad Coates and Charlie Milliken side by side as we get underway. We're 2-3 wide in the background, but look at the ADHD cars pull away out in front. Milliken and Brad Coates, an almost impenetrable wall for the rest of the field behind them, and this is exactly the launch that Harris will have wanted. Milliken starting to separate himself now, but the OPR car is absolutely stuck. Thomas Hinds goes through and past Reese Wakefield, so he'll be stuck in behind for a little while longer as we come down the outside of the Esses here. And what a start from the ADHD cars, exactly what they needed, and it's going to get them off to a brilliant start here for this 26-lap second race.
Well, you said keep a close eye on them, and keep a close eye on them I did, because they are now 1-2 in this race. They walked away from everyone else. Josh Harris, I think he pretty much just strolled off that line in comparison to everybody else. He just it's like everyone else was standing still. It was quite a good start. And now they might do a little bit of a switch back here. Ian Ward to take the lead of the race, so they're swapping positions, or maybe Ian Ward's just going for the very bold overtake through here, but heading up positional change. So Ian Ward now leads this race over Josh Harris from Charlie Milliken, and Chris Lashbrook, what a start. He now will resume the role of moving roadblock. He's now going to try and find a way past, I believe that's Brad.
It is Brad Coates.
It is Brad,
yeah, he's
Brad Coates he's battling with. So
he's struggling to get past there. Coates has just got so much pace at the moment. Lashbrook just struggling a little with the corner exit under cold tyres. But have a look at Ian Ward go. Look, I'm pretty sure he's still driving this thing on a controller and just, frankly, embarrassing the rest of the field right now. A brilliant start as we come through the Casio chicane. We're side by side, a little bit of a wiggle there from one of the Koala Cartel cars, and sideways goes McVie into the wall. That's a big accident in the background. Hayden Veld and two of the Koala Cartel cars, Liam Tipping and Cruz McVie. McVie just went sideways into that wall, and unfortunately, a massive collision. That's a safety car called. So that'll get picked up the next time around. And no great surprise, a huge moment there. McVie sideways into the wall, got spat back across the track, and nowhere for the others to go. That's about the worst case scenario, isn't it?
It is absolutely worst case scenario. Just nothing that Haydenveld or Liam Tipping could do there. They were absolute passengers. I got a feel for Haydenveld. He's having absolute rotten luck in this so far. He's getting caught up with other drivers' incidents. Here we go. Here's a replay.
It's a long way back, but I just want you to keep an eye on. It's a long way back, but have a look at what happens here, because Veld is pretty well in the middle of the two cars here. So I think it's actually Chris McVie up a little bit further. You can see him just disappearing off the front of the screen there, who ends up having the biggest issue. But Veld just so focused on that Koala Cartel car ahead. Now watch for Cruz McVie all of a sudden bouncing across the track in front of them. Huge hit, and Veld just straight in. I don't think he had a choice there. I think he just had to go at it. But that was absolutely massive.
And he fell victim to the Koala Cartel space program. I don't know if you saw Liam Tipping's car. Was one, I think it was Liam Tipping's car, but it's one of them has just actually just we're seeing where they've landed on the moon, and we'll be returning to Earth shortly for the safety car restart. But yeah, that was a huge moment for the Koala Cartels, and just absolutely skyrocketed. Here we go. We're getting a nice replay of this now. So this is Liam Tipping. Keep a very close eye. Here's Cruz McVie, and bang, straight into the air. Wow, what that is.
A massive
huge.
accident.
That is a huge impact, massive impact. And
Liam Tipping though, look at how fortunate he was at the back of the pack, and he goes, you know what, I'm gonna risk the race control having a bit of a word with me, and I'm actually going to go back and go straight into pits here. I don't have to tow. I can get this home. Yeah. That's about as good as it gets for him, because from there it was certainly not looking healthy in any other way. We've got, of course, Nathan Allen in the Mercedes safety car out in front of the pack at the moment, and Ian Ward and Josh Harris, unfortunately for them, this is going to pull a huge amount of that lead they'd built up back, and it's going to bring the tyre temps back down as well. Thankfully though, if you look at the standings so far, really Danny P and Reese Wakefield just stuck still back at the rear end of this 10. Thomas Hinds is only a couple of spots up into 7th, and Charlie Milliken and Brad Coates, the biggest movers down, with Ward and Harris going past them early on. It's a great start for the ADHD boys, and I expect we'll see the safety car in on this lap. But it's really up to them now to try and extend that lead again and time it well. At least they've got the the opportunity to have a bit of a chat on their race comms about how they're going to approach this one, because this is the opportunity to get a bit of a jump and try and re-establish that lead that they've now lost under safety car.
Yeah, well, this is the time for them to talk about what they're going to do, how they're going to approach this. They've got Charlie Milliken behind, then they've got Brad Coates, but then remember, Chris Lashbrook, I wouldn't say he necessarily, and this is no offence to Chris Lashbrook, I wouldn't necessarily say he has the pace around here. However, what he does have is the racecraft, and we saw that in race 1 with Danny P. He puts himself in a position where he can defend really well against the drivers that are behind. You've got Alex Seekers, Thomas Hins, Danny P and Reece Wakefield all behind him. It'll be desperate to get past, and Chris Lashbrook, he is not going to make this easy for a single one of them. And I suspect Ian Ward and Josh Harris are probably thinking, hopefully, Chris Lashbrook can hold them off for a little bit, that they only have to worry about the first couple cars. And I don't know, Chris Lashbrook, he could hold them off for the rest of the race here, depending on, or at least until the end of this first stint, because he has got some racecraft about him. He's got some race smarts when it comes to defending from drivers behind.
Yeah, we've already seen that through the sprint race. It's going to be a huge ask, though, for him to maintain that for another, 23 laps from here. Seems, let's be honest, a little unlikely that he's going to be able to hold this, as we see just confirmation from race control that safety car is coming in on this lap as it pulls away and leaves the field in Ian Ward's hands. I'll tell you what, pressure on Ward and Harris now. There's going to be just enough temp in these tyres after those first couple of laps that they can probably afford to push on a little bit. But it is going to be, I don't know. I don't know whether what we'll see here is a big jump from the championship leaders, or if Ian Ward and Josh Harris can just coordinate this and time it well enough. You'd have to think that they're going to go on the other side of this chicane. And Ian Ward does. There he goes, puts the foot down and starts to extend immediately. Josh Harris tries to follow him, but a massive start there from Ian Ward, and that's exactly the sort of gap that he would have been hoping for. Harris follows him through. Brad Coates and Chris Lashbrook side by side in the background. It looks like Lashbrook's had a bit of a better run at it, and he'll try and take him into the first corner here as we get back underway and start to race again with the safety car. And Lashbrook going too hard, slides off to the side of the track, and he's going to find himself all the way down. So unfortunately, the barrier that the two ADHD cars out of front were hoping for is not there. Immediately in the background is that Liam Tipping, Cruz McVie there, who went sliding as well. So a lot of drivers pushing very, very hard to get back into this as we get underway again. And in amongst all of that, Thomas Hins still only manages to climb up into 6th. So Alex Seekers, Brad Coates, this is it's going to be a massive effort for them to hold off these very, very quick drivers behind.
Absolutely, and you've got to think about those cold tyres. That's what brought Chris Lashbrook and Cruz McVie undone. In that first corner, we saw Ryan Palmer do it earlier on in race 1, and now up the inside, late on the brakes for Thomas Hins. He's going to get past. Jenny P, he fancied himself a bit of a look there, but Thomas Hins, that's a lovely move up the inside of the Motor Performance Racing Mustang, and now can set after Brad Coates. He's trying to carve his way through the field, put as much distance between himself and Reece Wakefield as possible. It's not going to be enough. Reece Wakefield really does, as you said, need to DNF in this race for there to be any hope of... I actually don't think he can mathematically win it now. I'm just doing maths in my head. I do not think there is a mathematical way.
There's no way for it to happen, even with the DNF. I can't see... I mean, maybe, but yeah, look, it's pretty well wrapped up. We'll confirm it 200 points
for a win?
For the win in the second race. But again, short of a DNF, I mean, the second place is still something like 193 or 4 points or something like that. So it's there's very little difference in points between them at that top end of the field. It's going to require a DNF from somebody to make any noticeable difference. But what's still on the line here tonight, Isaac, is bragging rights. Always about the bragging rights.
Absolutely. It's always about the bragging rights, and the coveted privilege of talking to us at the end of this race, and that is what they're all fighting for. I like to think that's what they're all fighting for. They're not fighting for points or for championship. They're fighting for the privilege of having a conversation with us after the race, because it's everyone's favourite part of the evening. I just know it. It's everyone's what everyone looks forward to.
You know what? I'll go with it. Why not? Danny P made that look so easy going around the outside of Brad Coates through the snake. It's like they were standing still, honestly. Coates and Seekers, though, forming a bit of a wall at the moment for Reece Wakefield, who's still stuck in behind them. So he'll be looking to get through and join his teammate pretty quickly. Thomas Hinds now all over the back of Charlie Milliken already. So he's thinking about making a similar move here at the hairpin. Looks the inside. Milliken goes defensive. Hinds is going to have to adjust very, very quickly to try and get moving again. He wants to get out in front, put a barrier back in between himself and Danny P in fifth. Can't quite get there at the moment, but he's all over the back end of Milliken's Mercedes, so he's still looking to set up again here. Will he get another shot at it though? Milliken responding and really being aware of Hinds' presence there. Has been pretty defensive through those past few corners. Wants to try and hang on to third for as long as he can, and he knows that if he can just hold Hinds at bay for a little while longer, Danny P's going to close in, and all of a sudden Hinds is going to have to start looking at the mirrors as well as looking forward. And that might be just enough to keep Milliken in that spot for a little bit longer. Ian Ward out in front, having a great old time. Milliken, though, picking up a black flag there, and that is from race control. So I'm not entirely sure for which infraction that is, but something has been called through, and Milliken has ended up with a drive-through. And Hinds wasn't ready for that at all.
Oh.
Thomas Hinds, unfortunately, on contact there with Reece Wakefield. Oh. So the decision very, very late from Milliken to go in for that black flag, and that has caused massive dramas for Thomas Hinds. Look at that car, it's grabbing all over the place. It's a long way back around here to try and get that car home, but Hinds is going to have to do it. He can't afford to tow at this point. That was the worst case scenario for Thomas Hinds. He was all set up to try and get past, and Milliken has dived for the pits to serve his black flag, and unfortunately Thomas Hinds just could not react quickly enough.
Yeah, and you will not be happy about that. Oh, I'm sure there'll be a few choice words being said by Thomas Hinds at this stage. He will not be happy in the slightest. That is super unfortunate. And Reece Wakefield as well. How ironic is it that the championship leader, the top two in the championship, are the two that are caught up in that incident? Reece Wakefield is the one that found a spinning Thomas Hinds. You see here just really caught out by the slowing of the speed down. I don't know. I don't quite know where the pit entry line is.
I don't think there was much contact there, but it was that last minute need to just jump on the brakes or ease off the throttle from Hinds. It's unbalanced car, and it's just seen the back end come sliding around as we get a beautiful shot through Spoon of Danny P. Just making his way through there. He's trying so hard to catch up to Ward and Harris ahead, but he's going to have a real battle on his hands because that gap has opened up massively. Ian Ward almost 2.5 seconds over his teammate, who himself has 2 seconds over Danny P. This is about the best that the ADHD team could have asked for right now. And here comes Ryan Palmer. He's right there with Mitch Curry. Looks to the outside of the long left-hander. Now at the inside of the chicane, picks up another spot. He's up into 6th, and he'll start going after Brad Coates.
Tell you what, around the outside at 130R, that's that left-hander. That is a bold move from Ryan Palmer, but he's known for his bold moves, and that's life would be boring if you weren't making a bold move, and I think that's probably the theory that he operates on. But that was a nice overtake on Mitch Curry, gets himself up to chase after Brad Coates. This is Hayden Veld and Chris Lashbrook. Chris Lashbrook recovering from that spin, Hayden Veld recovering from that damage early on, both up the inside of a struggling Reece Wakefield, who's got massive front-end damage. He's now got the Ryan Palmer treatment on that AMG, sorry, with the missing front bar.
I'm really surprised he hasn't come into the pits. Really surprised he hasn't come into the pits there. He's obviously decided that he is close enough to his pit strategy that it actually doesn't make sense to come in here, and he's just going to power through until he gets to his planned pit stop for the refuel. That's look, I guess at this point of proceedings, he knows he's got this championship locked away. He's really out of contention for this race, you'd have to think, with that amount of damage, and so he's just going to minimise the impact of that pit stop by doing it all at once. It's going to be a battle for him though to keep that car pointed in the right direction for however many laps until he decides to come in.
That is going to be the challenge. Keep it pointing in the right direction. You remember Ryan Palmer said earlier, without that front bar, there's so much understeer in the car. He's having like 3 or 4 goes at trying to make the corner, especially through that first second. That's a car around in the background. Alex Sekas is gone. I did catch the lovely front end of that Mustang, but not facing in the correct direction. And now he will insert himself into this little battle pack that's forming as a result of Reece Wakefield struggling with corner grip. But yeah, as Ryan Palmer said, you're having 3 or 4 goes at trying to make those corners, especially in the first sector. We're going to see a real struggle for Reece Wakefield until he does come into the lane to get that prepared at his first pit stop. Ryan Palmer, he's all over the back of Brad Coates. He's hunting for 4th position. He knows what he has to do to try and get that 5th spot back in the championship, and he is chasing after that. He didn't know if this would, I don't think he probably expected to be this far up the grid already. 13 spots in this race so far. If we said to Ryan Palmer in that interview, you're going to get up, by the time we get to lap 8, you're going to be 4th place, I don't think he would have believed us.
No, it seemed unlikely, but then there's been a lot of unlikely happenings already here tonight. And I'll tell you what, if this was earlier in the season, you would be scrambling to try and figure out the impact in terms of drop rounds and the like for Thomas Hinds, for Reece Wakefield, who find themselves so far back in the pack. They'll be really just so thankful that it happened this late in the season with very little chance for it to have any real impact on their final standings. We see the 2 Koala Cartel cars, Liam Jensen and Thomas Gould, just tucked in behind Dean Powell here, and probably the biggest pack on the field at the moment. It really does run all the way from Ryan Palmer back through to about Hayden Belden 12. All of these guys very, very closely packed. Josh Harris has been watching the mirrors for a while. Danny P, with all of the pace, has started to reel him in. It's down to half a second now. Ian Ward out in front, still maintaining though about 2.8 seconds. So you'd have to think at some point soon, Harris likely to really try and make life difficult for Danny P, just to try and give his teammate a little bit more breathing room. The gap up to 3 seconds now. So Harris, we know he struggled in qualifying with his fast lap pace. He's now going to be under a huge amount of pressure. He's got to think about turning to a defensive kind of approach here, but still maintains a standard line. He knows he's got just enough a gap ahead of Daniel Poulton at the moment to maintain that, but watch him come down the straight here. I think he's going to hug the inside and try and force Danny P wide. Danny, for his part, is just going to be foot down, full on the throttle. Surprised to see Josh maintaining the racing line there. He obviously thinks he's got enough pace to hold Danny P at bay for at least a couple more turns, and seems to be doing okay at the moment. Still at just a couple of tenths, maybe a little bit wide there from Poulton, as Josh Harris continues to hold on by the skin of his teeth to 2nd place. But I can't imagine that Danny P is going to let this go on for too long.
No, Danny P, he got caught behind one ADHD car in the first race. I do not think he wants to spend too long behind another ADHD car in this race, and he knows he has the pace to chase after Ian Ward, and Josh Harris is just in his own little world of defending for his teammate. And I think Josh Harris also knows if Daniel Poulton gets past here, Ryan Palmer is next in the queue, and he is on a mission to try and catch these guys. But here we go. That's a lovely exit for Danny P. This could be a move into the hairpin. You can see he's thinking about it. He looks to the outside. This will be a switchback attempt for Danny P. Runs wide and deep, but just wasn't able to turn back enough to maximise that exit. And he is in the slipstream. He has got a run, but I just don't think it's going to be enough on the run down towards Spoon. He might try and set himself up out of Spoon on the run towards 138, but he's just not close enough at the moment, Danny P.
No, but I'll tell you what, Josh Harris just throwing everything at this at the moment as they come out of Spoon and down the back straight again. It's so tight, but Harris is doing everything he can. He's allowed Ian Ward to get out to almost 4 seconds. Now, whether that's intentional or not is a whole other question. I think Danny's putting him under some pretty intense pressure here. Now, what do we see Harris do? Is he going to, no, he's straight away back to that left-hand side, really confident that he's got the pace to hold there. And Danny P just not able to get quite close enough. Same story again here, back onto the main straight as we start lap 10. Harris has Danny P all over that rear bar, and this time he stays inside. He's going to stay defensive this time around. But now he's starting to try and give Ian Ward just a little bit more room to work with. Danny's going to stay to the inside. He doesn't quite get there under brakes. In the background, Mitch Curry and Brad Coates side by side. So Curry goes through and picks up 5th place. There's a few other battles going on. Dean Powell and Liam Jensen behind them as, is that Jackson Austin? No, Chris Lashbrook spearing off again. So that first turn really proving to be his kryptonite here in race 2. Just cannot seem to get it pulled up and stay between the racing lines. it's not been his night, and unfortunately finds himself a little way back from where he'd probably like to be. Dean Powell having a much better second race though, as he challenges for 7th.
Yeah, Dean Powell, he is, struggled in that first race, had that massive incident, spun on, I believe it was lap 1 at the exit of the hairpin that's coming up. So it was a bit of a fight back race for him, finished right down the back of the field, and now having a much tidier race this time around, up 11 spots so far in this race. Liam Jensen up 5 spots as well. So these guys are battling away, but both up relatively decent amounts of spots at the moment, Liam Jensen and Dean Powell. This is the battle that continues on with Josh Harris and Daniel Ponty. Is a little bit closer this time towards Spoon, but again, just not close enough to make anything happen. A nice exit out of here. He gets a good phase, first phase out of the corner, but then the second acceleration phase for Josh Harris just seems that little bit better, and he's just able to maintain that gap, to hold that gap. But this time he's got the side draft. Danny P on the run towards 130. They're going to go side by side, and it's sorted out by the time they get there. Danny P gets the move done on Josh Harris, and he's up into 2nd place as they run towards chicane now.
Been a long time coming, hasn't it? And he's put Harris under so much pressure all the way. Harris, for his part, has done a great job to give Ian Ward 4.9 seconds to play with. You can see Ward just disappearing off the bottom of your screen there. So a massive bit of work for him to try and hang on to that. But he's really, really well positioned, and that is very much thanks to Josh Harris. Ryan Palmer, for his part, all of a sudden right there with Harris. So the two ADHD boys will be racing together in what is a pretty fitting end to this season here, I think, having them both in such close quarters. There's still a long way to go, of course, before we see them come across the line together or anything like that, but nice to see them reunited on track here in this final race of the French Car Care GT3 Championship season at Suzuka.
Well, they're reunited, but as we've established many times in this season and across multiple categories in MC Motorsport, anytime ADHD cars are near each other, it can always end in, there's always a high potential can end in disaster. And
exactly
these two are battling
them at this point, aren't they?
That's right. That's exactly right. We cannot leave them unsupervised, because as soon as you leave them unsupervised, one of them will do something and the other one will end up in tears. So these two are battling for a spot in the championship, and so the gloves will well and truly be off between these two. I don't know whether they'll be chatting away or completely silent in the team chat at the moment, but either way, if they're not careful, this could end in tears for somebody.
And we'll be right here to capture it, because I can't go past an opportunity to poke a bit of fun at these guys when they do get it wrong. That said, both in their own right, very, very accomplished drivers and doing a great job here. You can see that gap for Ian Ward, though, out in front, starting to drop. He's lost about 2 or 3 tenths already to Danny P on this run, so it's not boding well for him at this stage, but still plenty to go. Ryan Palmer has a brilliant run. He's going to look up the inside. They're going to be side by side, and Harris just moves back out of the way to allow his teammate through. And Palmer is now up into 3rd place, would you believe? That's a massive, massive effort. Can he make it a little further? Could we see, and I don't want to preempt this, but could we see an ADHD 1-2-3 to finish this season?
Something's got to happen to Danny P, and I like Danny P too much. I really want to see him on the podium in this race.
But at the same time,
I do not want to wish that on Danny P.
Kind of do want to see an ADHD 1-2-3, because that would be something truly unique that never happens.
No, it always ends in disaster whenever they get near each other on the podium. Someone does something and it always ends in tears. So hopefully we could see even a 1-3-4 for ADHD, or a 1-2-4 would be something. 3 cars inside the top 4 for ADHD is a wonderful effort, and hopefully it stays that way with about half race distance left to go. This is Hayden Veld. He's on the fight back with Chris Lashbrook. He's up to 10th, so he's actually driving really well now, Hayden Veld, despite being involved in the Koala Cartel space program earlier in the race. And then the other man that was involved in that space program, Liam Tipping, is right behind him, hoping that he's got no more journeys planned for the future, because I think he just like to stay on the racetrack.
Yeah, it certainly does seem that way, doesn't it? It's I don't quite know what to make of Hayden Veld's performance tonight. It's been so uncharacteristic for him in that Lambo, and he's still struggling. Like even sitting in 10th here, he's up 8 positions, sure, so still moving through the field. But when you compare that to the likes of Ryan Palmer, who started just on the same road, there's light years difference, although Veld's got a brilliant run on Lashbrook right now as well. So we'll see if he does make anything of it as they go through 130R here. And Veld just dropping off a little bit. He's really struggling with that Lamborghini. The setup just not playing nicely for him at all.
I think we've seen him be super quick in that car all season. I do not think Suzuka, as we see Chris Lashbrook dive into the pit lane for his stop, I do not think the Lamborghini suits this circuit. I don't necessarily think it's a Hayden Veld's related problem. He's definitely not a slow driver by any stretch of the imagination. I do not think that Lamborghini is suited to this circuit, which is super disappointing because he's a very fast driver. He's had a lot of pace all season. And yeah, super disappointing to see him struggling just down the rear end. He's lost another spot there to Liam Tipping. He's now got to slow down for his trouble. So
well, Tipping's off into the wall in the background. Well, that slowdown, the start of something pretty nasty, and that front end is not going to get him back to the pits. He's trying everything he can to get it rolling, and just couldn't in the end. So yeah, look, I think we don't think we'll be getting a safety car. It looks like he's already made the jump back to the pits, but that was a big impact. We'll go back and take a look at that in just a second. Jensen, Power, and Austin are locked into this battle for sixth. The gap down in front, all fairly spaced out all of a sudden. G'day, Lucas. Good to have you in the chat, mate. It is good to see the ADHD cars up top, even if it is a little bit unusual. But yeah, nice to see something a little bit different. And when we take a look at the team standings, have a look at it. ADHD 1, 3, and 4, and then of course down in 15th with Chris Lashbrook having a less impressive run this time around, but certainly has been a lovely start for them.
It has been a very good start for them so far, and hopefully that trend can continue as we continue to roll through the remainder of this race. And that is very much all fingers crossed. This is what happened to Liam Tipping. So it looked like he overtook Hayden. That's why it said he overtook Hayden Veld, because he just sort of straight lined the track and then got the shortcut and into the wall. And yeah, super disappointing.
Now, if I'm not mistaken, was it Tipping we saw that had a similar kind of moment in race 1 with Ryan Palmer, or was that the other one?
It may have been. It looked like there though. He wasn't really. Because he wasn't really
panels here. Powell and Jensen.
Panel rubbing. They are going at it. We'll come back to that because I do have a very interesting point on that. But we'll just watch this battle for now. Liam Jensen, Dean Powell. They are. I think that's going to go the way of Dean Powell, and it is for now. But it was very much elbows out, and now Darren Austin fancies himself a little bit of a look at the back of the Koala Cartel car. But just back on that other Koala Cartel car, it didn't look like he got through out of the throttle at all throughout that entire accident. So I'm wondering, my theory that I'm gonna throw out into the universe here is that potentially a stuck throttle in some way, shape or form for Liam Tipping, which has caused that incident. Which would be straight line to that. Which
would be consistent with what we saw in the earlier issue tonight, where he's basically straight line across the top of the Casio chicane as well. So maybe a few hardware issues going on there. But in any case, it's not gone well for him, and that will be pretty much the end of his night, you would think, as Tipping gets the tow back to the pits. Whether we'll see him taking part in this race is anyone's guess at this point, but we'll stay firmly focused on this battle for fourth. Brad Coates comfortably sitting in it at the moment, but he's got to keep an eye on Power, Jensen, Austin and Veld, all just piling up back here. Reese Wakefield and Chris Lashbrook change positions back in 15th and 16th, as I believe Lashbrook's been in, done his pits. Josh Harris has had his pit stop in and out and finds himself in 13th. Ryan Palmer now comes into the pits as well, so that'll be one to watch. Ian Ward out in front. Have a look at it, all on his own, just enjoying life at the moment. 4.5 seconds still back to Danny P, so he is losing time, but it's not coming off at the rate that Danny P's going to need, I reckon.
Oh, I don't really think Danny P's made that much inroads on him. I think it was about 4.5 seconds when he got past Josh Harris.
Lap,
so
2500ths was the difference that Danny P was quicker.
Not really
so
that much, is it?
It's not a lot. I mean, he can keep chipping away at it, but Ian Ward is absolutely loving it out in front here. The question will just be, can he maintain it, and can he get in and out of the pits cleanly and find himself in clean air again to not lose out in an undercut-overcut kind of situation. That will be what brings him undone, if anything, and that'll certainly be what Danny P is hoping for at this stage. Jackson Austin, Hayden Veld, Thomas Quill, all still in it for fourth. Brad Coates now sitting in third, as we saw Ryan Palmer go into the pits and back out, but Palmer back out ahead of his teammate. Palmer and Harris 9th and 10th. Effectively the race leaders after pit stops. The only question will be, where does Ian Ward sit? Where does Danny P sit in amongst all of that? And here comes Hayden Veld. He almost thinks about a run there on Austin. He's going to go to the inside. No, stays out for now. Just looking to close that gap a little further. I reckon we keep an eye on this as we get towards the chicane. Oh, an excellent run through the second half of Spoon there. Austin just going a little bit wide, and Veld takes the spot. Yeah, no Southern Cross entries tonight, Lucas. It is a shame to see the absent liveries of yourself and Mick Polly and the like, but yeah, very much looking forward to the next GT3 season. It is going to be an absolute cracker, I am sure, and looking forward to another season of very, very full grids tonight. Easily the smallest grid of cars that we've seen all season. Where we've had 40 and 50 cars throughout the rest of the season. It's been a beautiful thing to watch. It really has.
It just speaks to the quality of this championship, doesn't it? The quality of drivers, and how much everyone loves coming racing here, just how big the grids are on a consistent basis. It's wonderful to see. Obviously, as you said, it's the smallest grid tonight, which is a shame, but it's still 20 cars, absolutely nothing to scoff at. But yeah, it's been great to see how many large grids we've had throughout the season and how many cars we've had, because at some of these circuits, there's a lot more cars than you think you could probably fit at the circuit.
Yeah, absolutely spot on. Just a note on the pit stops there. Danny P has come out and has gained a good couple of seconds through the pit stop. Ian Ward almost a full second and a half slower end to end through the pit lane, so that's cut that down just a little further.
There's Team Pow.
Team Pow just doing this thing off the back of the track. Turn one really catching the Mustangs out tonight. Between Pow and Lashbrook, it's proving to be a very, very difficult curve for a Ford to negotiate.
I believe, it was somewhere else we saw Alex Zekas. It was Spoon we saw Alex Zekas.
It was, yeah. But again, that long, fast corner seems to be the undoing for the Mustang tonight.
It does. I think it just front engine rear wheel drive car.
Hayden Veld,
a lot of the black flag for Hayden Veld. That is.
That's
very frustrating.
Doesn't appear to be race control issues, so that
so must be an in-game.
That must be off tracks or incidents or whatever. So unfortunately, he's going to have to come in to make a pit stop, and then also serve a drive-through as well, because his pit stop on lap 2 I don't think will be enough to get him home at this point.
No.
Josh Harris just enjoying being out in front of the pack at the moment. His teammate Ryan Palmer a fair bit further up the field. Brian East in the middle, yet to make his stop. Ian Ward and Danny P really where the battle is at the moment, and that gap still 3.5 seconds. Ian Ward will be doing everything he can to maintain it at that level, and we are slowly ticking away through laps. About 9 laps to go, give or take. Can Ian Ward hold on for that long?
That is the question that we are asking ourselves. Can Ian Ward hold on the gap between him and Danny P? And wait for it to work itself out, sort of, after the pit. It's about 3 seconds, I reckon, by the time it normalises, which is
3.3 thereabouts.
Not a huge gap, but also not a tiny gap either. Plenty of breathing room for Ian Ward at the moment, just to do his own thing and manage those tyre temperatures, manage the lap time. He doesn't have to think about Danny P too much just yet. He will be conscious that he is faster and he is on his way to the back end of that car, but I don't think Ian Ward's super concerned just yet. He's certainly not looking behind him at this stage.
Not just yet, but that gap is coming down as Danny P starts to just lift the intensity coming into the latter half of this race. And why not throw everything at it? Only about 9 laps to go in the season. May as well push on for one final win if you can. Ian Ward will be doing everything he can to secure his first win for the season. Wouldn't that be a bit of a special treat to end his French Car Care GT3 championship run?
Oh, absolutely, especially on controller as well.
I don't cannot fault the bloke, can you? It's just so impressive.
Not indeed. And I've watched Ian Ward for a couple of years now in various categories. I watched him on Gran Turismo 7, drive some GR2 Group 2 cars on controller. I've watched him drive Group 3 cars on controller. I've watched him do a couple of things in a set of course competizione on a wheel and a controller. So I've had the privilege of watching him work in multiple categories, and it just seems he has driven on a wheel before, but he just has so much more pace on a controller, and I don't know what it is. I don't know how he does it. I've tried this game, especially iRacing and ACC on a controller, and I do not know how he does it, because the speed that he has compared to the likes of the average controller user is just absolutely ridiculous. And he takes some of these blokes who spend a lot of time trying to be fast on a wheel and are fast on a wheel. He takes them to school, because I don't know how he does it, but I'm in awe.
Yeah, it's a pretty impressive thing, isn't it? And hopefully he can hold on for another 8 or so laps and maybe to just take that top step as we go on board with Reece Wakefield. Let's take a lap of Suzuka, and the fast and long set of right-handers at the end of the straight has been really causing issues for particularly those Mustang drivers all night, as we said. Then, of course, into the snake. And it's a back and forth that, look, it's a lot of fun, but so easy to get it wrong if you just don't combine these corners in quite the right way. Through Dunlop now, the uphill left-hander just seems to go on forever and ever and ever and ever before we finally get ourselves down towards Degner. This very odd little complex through here, as Wakefield uses every single bit of the track. Under the bridge we go and up towards the hairpin. And Reece looking super comfy at the moment. He knows there's no pressure on him tonight. He just has to bring it home, and so won't be feeling too much stress, but certainly looking ahead to Brad Coates and wanting to close that in if he can. Then out of the hairpin we go into 200R before we finally arrive at Spoon just a couple of seconds later. It's a long right-hander, that one. I still can't figure out why they call this Spoon, Isaac. Any insight?
I think if you look at it on a track map, it looks a little bit like a spoon. That's about how the insight I've got, really.
Yeah. Not any Spoon I've ever used. Down the back stretch we go, under the Panasonic and Dunlop billboards before we hit 130R. It's a fast left-hander where you really just have to have faith. It's pretty blind until you're already into it, but look at this full noise from Reece Wakefield. 240k an hour, just clip that outside curb and then hard on the brake on the way into the Casio Triangle, this last chicane. And it's a run around Suzuka that is an awful lot of fun in just about any car, but super quick in that GT3. The gap up ahead for Ian Ward down to 2 seconds flat at the moment. It is slowly evaporating, but you'd have to think at worst he's on for a second place here. I really hope he can hold on for what's left and take the win. That would be a pretty special way to end it up for the season. Just keep an eye on it. This one going on for fifth, Mitch Curry and Liam Jensen. Been locked in for a little while here. Curry's doing a great job of holding him off, but Jensen with a fair bit of pace, setting his fastest lap last time around at 58.66. So he'll be threatening Curry pretty soon. It's just a question of whether or not Curry can actually hold him off.
Yeah, that's right. Can Mitch Curry hold on over Liam Jensen? Sorry, we've seen the likes of Chris Lashbrook make those cars as wide as possible. How wide can Mitch Curry make that Ferrari with 7 laps to go in this race? It's starting to get darker in parts of the circuit as the sun begins to go down, so the vision is getting a bit more challenging. Your braking markers are starting to disappear. To the outside there is Thomas Cool on Jackson Austin trying to find a way past. So the Koala Cartel cars are starting to gang up on the Ferraris. There's one Ferrari in a battle. There's another Ferrari in a battle. This is Thomas Hinz trying to find his way past Charlie Milliken.
He's got to be careful because we know what happened last time he was in tight behind Milliken.
Yep, that's exactly right.
You want to be very careful here.
That's the reason why he's down here.
Yeah, well, exactly right. And yeah, look, it won't be the end of the season that he will have hoped for, but you know, this is racing after all, and in the end, I don't think there was anything he could have done to improve that championship standing. As we've said many times already tonight, we hope you're enjoying the coverage at home, folks, of what has been a pretty phenomenal 10 weeks of racing here with MC Motorsport and French Car Care. A lovely, lovely set of tracks that we've had the pleasure of visiting across these 10 weeks. And Suzuka, not a bad way to end it at all, as Hinds just hangs on the inside a little bit longer. Reese Wakefield, for his part, up the inside now. Chris Lashbrook has a think about it. He's a long way back, and we've seen him fly so wide in this corner, so glad to see that he's decided to just settle back in there. But Reese Wakefield will start to just extend out in front. The gap between Ward and Poulton now down to a second as we get into the last, 7 laps, 6.5 laps left to go. It's starting to come down. We're within a second now. Danny P has really turned up the heat here. Ryan Palmer 7 seconds further back. You can't see him really taking any part in that battle. So the question will be, does Ian Ward have the defensive chops? There's a big moment there for Jackson Austin, just overcooks it and manages to pull it up just shy of the wall.
Oh, well done.
Dunlop just proving a little too difficult there. He drags a bit of kitty litter back onto the track. Hopefully everyone else clears that reasonably comfortably. But, Mitch Curry now on the back of Josh Harris. So Curry and Jensen, despite battling, have really kept the pace up, and Harris continues to struggle tonight.
Yeah, he is struggling in the second phase of this race. Whether we change tyres or not, that might be playing a factor with the higher track temperature. But you just saw the back end of a bit of oversteer from Jackson Austin there, and just the correction that the car was having, the wobble, they call it, in the steering, and it just resulted in him flicking. He did well to keep it out of the wall, but now we look at the other Ferrari of Mitch Curry, and he is looking very quick, despite, as you said, battling away with Liam Jensen. They have both caught up to the back of Josh Harris, who will not want to lose any more places because that will threaten his championship spot over Ryan Palmer. So he's going to want to hold on to 4th place as long as he can here. But with 5 laps to go now for these drivers, I don't see him holding on for much longer. He can try, definitely will try. It's going to be a tall ask.
Watchbrook has a big look up the inside, gets it a little wrong up over the curb. He's going to struggle to pull it up. Contact there with Brad Coates and sends Brad Coates out to the wall. Thankfully, Coates not actually sliding all that far, but recovers it. And I think all of that from just a little bit of misjudgment on the apex from Lashbrook. Just clipped that inside curb on the way into one, and that was enough to upset the car and send him out wide. It's really been the most troublesome corner all night for him, and that continues to be the case. We'll jump forward now though, because here we go. Danny P has caught up, and Ward is already into full defense mode. You saw him right on the inside of the hairpin there, and I don't know how much longer he's going to be able to hold on here. It's almost one of those things where you almost resign yourself to being passed at some point. That doesn't mean you make it easy, and we'll see just what Ian Ward's got up his sleeve here as he tries desperately to hold Danny P off. If he manages this is going to be the best 5 laps I reckon he's ever driven.
Yeah, this is going to be a really big ask for Ian Ward. 5 laps to go, the run towards 130. Look at the run that Danny P has got. The defensive line from Ian Ward to sort of sit him out of that slipstream down through 130. Look at the kitty litter coming up off the road, sprayed into the windscreen of Daniel Poulton off the back of the ADHD Mercedes. Now super close, and this is where we saw earlier Danny P so strong through that final chicane, but he just isn't able to capitalise on the exit because he gets tripped up. He has to slow up, check up a little bit on the exit because he's got so much speed difference over the car in front that it hurts him down the front straight. So he's almost too fast through that final chicane, and that means that Ian Ward, and he's just run a little bit wide there. Ian Ward carried a bit too much speed. He got slightly loose. You can see to correct the oversteer or the understeer even on the car, and that has meant that Daniel Poulton has the opportunity now through the snake to try and find a way past. That was probably the door opening that Danny P needed. He just wasn't close enough to capitalise. As I said earlier, he just was too fast through that chicane, which is, as you said, a nice problem to have, but it's meant that he wasn't close enough into turn 1 to capitalise on that mistake from Ian Ward. And Ian Ward doesn't make too many of those.
No, he doesn't. He's been so rock solid all night tonight. Ward's going to have to look at this, going so massively defensive on the way into the hairpin. Doesn't want to make it easy at all for Danny P, and he immediately goes to the outside on the exit. I don't know if you caught it at home, folks, but the underside of the spoiler on those 80 HD cars does have a message, especially for Danny P. Danny, brake, please. And I reckon Ian Ward is desperately hoping that this is the moment where Danny pays full attention to that and just decides to stay on the brakes. You know, about the next 4 laps would be nice if he could just hold the brake pedal down. That'd probably be very much appreciated by Ian Ward. I don't see it happening though. Poulton is on an absolute rampage. Now he just needs to find a way past. Can Ward holding off? We've got just a few more laps, a handful of laps to go here. Ian Ward is going to have it absolutely all to do in these final laps if he does want to hang on to this top spot. The consolation for him will be a pretty comfortable second, but geez, you get this close to the end of the race and you don't give it up easy, do you?
No, you certainly do not. And if I'm Ian Ward, I am making that car as wide. I'm hitting up Chris Lashbrook for some tips. How did you make that car so wide, different from Danny P as long as he did? Because that's what Ian Ward needs to do here. And Danny P, he's really just had he's had 80 HD car after 80 HD car just in front of him today, trying to be as wide as possible, hasn't he? And he's had to work for his overtakes on these boys today. They've made it difficult for him, but I see very soon Danny P finding a way past. Look at the run through the snake, just how much faster he is, how much more grip he's got over Ian Ward at this stage of the race. He is finding grip. I didn't think it was possible to find extra grip, and he has got such a speed difference on the run down towards the end of sector 1 now. For this is the 23rd lap of the race, so 3 laps to go, and what makes it for Ian Ward? He is trying everything he can to keep this car in front.
Danny P is going to go around the outside of the hairpin. Can he get there this time? Ward again takes the inside, shuts the door, keeps Danny P at bay. This must be getting frustrating for Danny, but Ian doing a brilliant job of just throwing every trick he can think of at the one performance racing driver, and it's so far proven to be just enough. You can see Danny's just throwing that car out very, very wide, and there's the mistake. Ian Ward runs a little bit wide and spoon, and that'll be all it takes. Danny goes through, and Ward, unfortunately, I don't think will have the pace now that Danny's been released to stay with him. He's going to have to really work for it. He's right on his tail here. This is his best shot. He has to stay with him to have a shot on the way into... Oh, Danny going defensive. This is not something we see very often at all. Look at this, back and forth across the road, and Ian just trying to really jink Danny a little bit, and it almost came off there, but unfortunately Ian just cost himself a little bit too much pace in those manoeuvres, and I don't think he's going to catch him down the main straight to have a crack at it into turn 1. I say that now though, the time is coming down between them, down to 4/10. Don't think close enough at the moment, but maybe, just maybe, Ian Ward does have the pace to stay with him for another couple of laps and make this a battle all the way to the end.
Well, this is the sector where Danny P's been stronger, so this will be the telltale sign through sector 1. How much can Danny P pull away here? You see that gap? It's not really growing that much, actually. We saw just the pace difference between these two. It is, yeah, it's not really growing out at this stage, obviously early in the lap, but there we go. It's starting to grow a bit more now through this second phase of the first sector, and Danny P, as I said, he's super strong through here. This is where he found all his time in the previous lap, and now it's well over a second, and Daniel Poulton will disappear into the distance. He'll be hoping that it will stay that way for the remainder of the race, and he'll be able to come home for a very hard-fought victory. Now, this little battle pack, it is Josh Harris, Mitch Curry, now Liam Jensen and Reece Wakefield have all been invited into the party, so we've got a 4-way battle for 4th spot on the road.
Harris has had his work cut out from this. He's been under pressure from Curry and Jensen for, I think, about 10 laps at this stage, or at the very least since the pit stops that they all made around about lap 13, lap 14. And the pressure continues to build. Reece Wakefield on the end of this. I don't know if he's going to push so hard at this point that he's putting himself in any danger. You know, a couple laps to go, you just kind of tack on. You take a spot if a mistake presents itself, but otherwise it's not worth the risk at this stage of the race. Wakefield just needs to bring that car home in one piece, and he looks pretty well set to do that at this stage. That said, it's not going to stop him from getting involved in this little train, because it is always a bit of fun running nose to tail in GT3 cars where you can really take advantage of the aero. That's something that all cars do make the most of. And you can see Josh Harris just doing everything he can to shake the other out of the back. Now Liam Jensen has a big look up the inside of Curry. He's going to get alongside. Curry's back on the inside. They come back onto the main straight. What's going to happen here? Curry looking to drop in behind and take full advantage of the aero down the straight. And he's going to stay right with Jensen all the way down. Reese Wakefield follows them through. Lashbrook trying to pick up whatever scraps he can there. Curry back and forth across the track, just trying to bait Jensen into an early move. Jensen stays rock solid, and Curry just has to get back out and open that corner up. And now he's going to just try and hold on to the back, but all of a sudden, this group that was within about a second and a half of each other has started to space right out, and Josh Harris breathes a massive sigh of relief.
Yeah, that is a bit of a breather for Josh Harris. Not done yet though. Liam Jensen's got a lot of pace in that Koala Cartel Aston, so keep a very close eye on him indeed, because that could be a positional gain maybe towards the end of this race if Liam Jensen can catch back up. But Josh Harris just has a moment to not have to worry too much about the cars in his rearview mirror. Take a deep breath, and that is what he'll be. That's what he would have been hoping for with this battle. Reese Wakefield, though, he'll fancy himself a look here at Mitch Curry, I think, before this race is over. He has got a lot of pace, and Mitch Curry, as much as I don't want to see him continue to move backwards, Reese Wakefield is a very seasoned operator, very experienced operator, and I think there will be a move on before we get to the end of this race.
Chris Lashbrook was trying to get in on the action, but ran just a little bit wide through Degner, picked up an off-track, and that's been enough to land him with a drive-through from iRacing for incident points. So, unfortunately, into 8th at the moment, but will likely finish a fair way further down through the pack once he serves that penalty. So we did look like we were going to have a battle pack of 5 here. I don't think that's going to be the case. Lashbrook's going to have to come in and serve that penalty, which is a real shame because he's put in a pretty decent drive, all things considered. Danny P starts the final lap of this race. Ian Ward right behind him. Ryan Palmer in 3rd. Josh Harris in 4th. It's not the all ADHD podium we thought we might in some wild fever dream get, but a 2nd, 3rd, 4th ADHD is a pretty impressive finish to their season as a team.
Oh yeah, 3 cars inside the top 4. That is a massive result for these guys, for this team. And yeah, it's quite nice to see. We didn't know if it was going to happen for a while. That was a little bit sketchy. And Liam Jensen still may upset the party. It's not quite over yet. He is right up behind Josh Harris now, and he has a rear view mirror for Koala Cartel. Jackson Austin has crashed. That is where we are receiving from race control. So a difficult evening, or a difficult second race for Jackson Austin after a pretty strong race 1. So it's disappointing to see him all the way down there in race 2 and just struggling a little bit with this Ferrari.
Yeah, it's really not played nicely for him at all, has it? It's gone off track time and time again. Mitch Curry having no such issues with his. So just a case of, different strokes, different folks. And sometimes a circuit just suits one driver more than the other. Here we go. Here's the move. Harris has a little bit of a moment on the way out of Degner, and that opens the door for Jensen to have a crack at it. At the moment, Harris just shutting the door on him and trying to stay to the inside as much as he can. But if Jensen does get alongside here, and you can see Harris start to float out and cover the inside of Spoon, and I think he's going to have to make some room here. It looks like Liam Jensen might just get 4th yet. Danny P all the way out in front is looking set to bring this one home, but it does look as though I think Josh Harris is going to hold on to this.
I think he might just have it. I'd say Danny P's not too far away from crossing the line. Cut to the camera, and there he is, Danny P across the line. What a victory for the One Performance Racing driver. Ian Ward take a bow, and Ryan Palmer will come across the line for 3rd. But this is the battle. Mitch Curry getting the elbows out as Ryan Palmer coming across the line. How will these guys finish the race? It's going to be Josh Harris.
Jensen at the end into the wall.
In the wall. Oh,
he's going to reverse it across the line. Come on, do it. There you go.
Do it. There you go.
Why not, Liam? That's what we love to see. At that point, why not have a bit of fun and bring it across the line? He'll finish in 9th as he reverses across the finish line. And Thomas Hinn's probably wondering what the hell is going on as he comes down the main straight to pick up 10th. Chris Lashbrook home in 11th. Danny P celebrates in style. And Mitch Curry in the background having a bit of fun as well. We'll see a whole bunch of these guys, I'm sure, out on track, just enjoying a little bit of blowing off steam at the end of what has been a very, very good season indeed, and plenty of smoke out there. But Danny P takes the race win in race number 2. Ian Ward and Ryan Palmer 2nd and 3rd. Josh Harrison 4th. ADHD with a phenomenal finish to their season. And pretty well everyone now getting in on the Turn 1, Turn 2 action. Because why not? It's a bit of fun. It's the end of the season. These guys have raced hard for 10 weeks across so many different tracks, so many different race formats. And to be here tonight as we see someone there ahead of Hayden Veld just trying on the whole reverse the whole way around. Veld, of course, famous for that. And Nathan Allen from the race control team out in the safety car, just using up the tyres that have been on that thing all season and not seeing anywhere near as much love as he probably would have liked it to. But that is the end of a phenomenal season of racing. And now...
Look at the kitty litter.
Oh, look, it's going to be everywhere. It's going to be everywhere. There's no denying that. But, you know, that's half the fun when you come to the end of the season, isn't it? Let's take a look at the final race results. So Danny P takes the win ahead of Ian Ward and Ryan Palmer. Then Josh Harris in fourth. A dream finish for ADHD, second, third and fourth here. If they could have just done that right through the season, it would have been a whole different story, perhaps, at the end of it all.
Oh, yeah,
but,
indeed.
Look, you know, these things happen. And then, of course, Mitch Curry coming home in fifth ahead of Reece Wakefield, Thomas Krul and Brad Coates, then Liam Jensen and Thomas Hinz in amongst it as well. We've got a few people to talk to here this evening, and we'll start with tonight's race winner as we bring him on into the booth. Danny P, welcome on back, my friend.
Hello. How you guys going?
Look, doing all right, mate, and lovely to have you back in with us once again this week. Congratulations, first of all, on the win here in race number 2. We were hoping that Ian was going to take you all the way to the end, I'll be honest, but once you got past just too strong, mate, and put the foot down, Suzuka, obviously, another track that you are fairly comfortable with, eh?
Yeah, outside of Bathurst, this is probably my second week that I was looking forward to the most.
Well, certainly making it count, as always. Look, it's been a big season, and obviously we've got a few different people to chat to now that we've come to the end of this season. But as we look back on the 10 weeks that have been, any particular standout moments for you? What's been your favourite apart from the win here in race 2, of course?
I think that second race in the first weekend where Reece and I were basically bumper to bumper the entire race, and he nearly put me in the fence, but I backed off to let him in front, so that's how he won that race. But yeah, I think
is that the same story he'd tell, just quietly?
Oh, he would say I tried putting him in the wall, but I was behind him. So technically, if he was in the wall,
technically,
there's a rule book.
No, fair enough, mate. Look, there's been some brilliant races right throughout this season. A big finish for you as well. By my count, it looks like you should be coming home in a fairly comfortable third in the championship. Is that about where you were hoping to end up? I mean, everyone wants to win, of course, but is that what was on your cards when we started this season?
Look, I was robbed of a trophy last season due to a slowdown across the start-finish line. So the goal was just aim for the podium, and didn't matter where I finished. But from my understanding, I should be definitely on the podium by a comfortable margin. So I'm pretty chuffed and pretty thrilled.
Yeah, look, no denying it, mate, at all. You know, sure, there's potentially some stuff to come in terms of, you know, other calculations along the way. But when we do take a look at the current championship points, daylight between the front three and Hayden Veld in fourth, mate. You ended up just, by my count as well. Let's be clear, it's my count here. You ended up. Yeah, look, it's usually pretty close. So 19 points off the back of Thomas Hinz. So, considering the ups and downs of the season, very little in it at the end of this championship, mate. So, a very solid third place, and well done to you across an amazing 10 weeks of racing.
It's been amazing. The broadcast that you guys have put on has been exceptional. So yeah, no, I'm thrilled. I can't be any happier, any sadder. Like, I'll go to sleep happy as a baby tonight after a quick bevy. But yeah.
Well, mate, congrats again on a stellar season. It's been a pleasure to have you along for it. We're seeing you back again for the next season at the start of 2026.
Look, I might do some tiny bit of other commitments first, but I'll definitely be back here as soon as possible. I love the racing that's here in MC.
Good to hear, mate. Always a pleasure to chat to you. Congrats again. And it's been a fantastic season getting to chat to you a few times, mate. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you. You guys appreciate it. Love chatting with you, and chat to the fans. Sure, there's some out there.
There's always fans
All
out there
mean a
for
lot
Danny
to me.
B. Always.
Yes, always fans, especially on the car, on the track named Ryan and Josh. But yeah, we'll chat about those guys later.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, Danny. Great to chat to you, mate.
Yeah, thank you guys. See you later. Have a good rest of your night.
Danny P there comes home in third place. Now, in terms of race results, I don't think we've got Ian Ward around, so we might just jump to third place here in race number 2. Brian Palmer, welcome back to the booth, my friend.
Thanks, mate. Cheers.
Well, it's not quite the win that we were hoping you might get here tonight, but as far as birthday presents go, a third place in race 2, not the worst thing.
Yeah, no, I had a good start. Obviously, Will Brown-esque it from Sandown, so yeah, started P17, finished P3, I think it finished P2, but yeah, the Merc, the tyres really died off in the end there. I don't know what it was, but yeah, no, it was good. I went to go for a big dart from like right to left off the start to try and overtake these bloody koala cars, but yeah, I went from right to left, and then there was a ruse car, and I was like, oh! So yeah, no, but man, I was scared. I was very scared. So, but no, good race. Josh didn't really make it easy. Mitch didn't make it easy. I absolutely nearly saw the angels when one of the koala cars hit the wall. Oh my lord!
Yeah, look, that was a pretty special one, and I tell you what, wait till you see it on the broadcast, mate, because it was pretty next level.
Yeah, I come out of that last corner out of the triangle, seen him dart to the right, and I was like, oh my god, he's going to hit the wall and absolutely slingshot out to where I am. So, tucked hard left, saw him come zooming across the back and take out like 2 cars behind, and I was like, praise dear God, thank the Lord. And
yeah,
then,
nothing quite like that to get you believing in some kind of religion, is there?
Yeah, no, exactly. But and then Piggy was on the race chat. Josh was like, tell me when you're going to go. He went right in the middle of the triangle, and I'm just like, that is really not where I want you to go. But it is what it is. But I got a bit of overlap there. Didn't pass before the control line, so I did a bend. So, but it's good. Good season. It's top job. But yeah, good to come home with the podium.
Capped off by a 2nd, 3rd, and 4th for ADHD. That's got to be the best result ever for the team, I reckon.
Yeah, well, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 11th. So yeah, altogether, I'm pretty sure that's Ian's best result, Josh's best result. Chris raced 1 as well. So the boys did really well here. So yeah, top job to them.
Nice work, mate. Well, thank you so much for dropping in to chat to us. Anyone you want to say hello to before we do let you go?
Hello to H and Beck at home. As always, I've got Beck's little DB Wacker here, Panda cars, and you guys. Thanks for everything you've done for the season. So hopefully, fingers crossed. I got Josh at the end, but I'm pretty sure he's just got me by like 1 or 2 points. But everyone at home watching, thanks for the season, guys. Top job. Can't wait for 2026. So yeah.
Mate, by my count, for what it's worth, I think he got you by 3 points.
That's all right. He can have that over me, but we'll go to the V8s and then we'll go from there. But it should be good.
Good stuff, mate. Well done as always, DJ. Thanks so much for coming in and having a chat to us, eh?
All good, no worries. Cheers, boys. Cheers for the season. Done well, and cheers, Isaac, for jumping in too. So,
Ryan Palmer gets on home and takes out a podium spot. And not a bad finish for him overall in the scheme of things. It's time now to have a chat to a couple of our other championship finishers, our podium in the championship, as it were, and we'll go to 2nd place. Thomas Hinds, welcome back to the booth, my friend.
Hey, good to be here,
mate. It was I think it was probably almost a done deal tonight, but congratulations on maintaining that 2nd spot in the championship standings by our numbers, and a pretty well-deserved result from your season. How does it feel? I know it wasn't perhaps the race you were hoping for tonight in terms of results, but certainly across the 10 rounds, it's been an absolute cracker for you.
Yeah, it's funny that now 2 MC seasons haven't quite finished how I want it, but anyway, it's all good. It worked out. Thankfully, Brett was in with me tonight again, and he sort of crunched the numbers and let me know sort of where I needed to be to secure it. So that sort of helped a bit in just relieving the pressure. I knew what I had to do to get up there to be all good for 2nd. So yeah, it was yeah, it was good fun. I mean, it was a great season overall. You know, shame the last race was that way, but you know, I didn't feel there was much I could do there. I was a bit sort of sandwiched in there and couldn't really just stop, couldn't kick up too fast, and just I was a bit sandwiched in there on that scenario, so I didn't feel like there was much I could have done. But yeah, made it a bit interesting, I guess, trying to charge through a little bit and just make sure I got the positions. Thankfully did. So it worked out. But overall, really good season. Went better than expected. As I said at the start of the season, I hadn't really driven the Corvette GT3 very much, so that's the point I picked it, just to try something different. And it worked out. Yeah, it's quick. It's a little bit nervous on occasion, but if you can sort of get the head around it, it definitely has a lot of pace.
Mate, it's been an absolute pleasure to see you blasting around out on track all season. A great result, as you said, not quite the outcome that perhaps you were hoping for again this time around, but that just means you've got to come back for another one, doesn't it?
Yeah, we're going to see on that. I'm sort of, I'm honestly, I was not going to lie, I was over the weekend, I was away on the weekend and coming back, and I was thinking, and I was like, man, I mean, it's good for, I do enjoy it, I do enjoy racing, but I was thinking, God, it would be kind of nice to have Monday night back again. And I do one tomorrow night, so I'm pretty keen to wrap up too, to be honest. So we'll see how we go. I'm kind of looking at scaling back my racing a little bit next year, just try and do some other stuff that I've been meaning to do for a very long time. I just haven't done it, and I want to do a few other hobbies and get into them. So we'll see. But either way, it's been awesome fun at MC. With this and the V8s have both been a great time. So it's definitely no slight in the league. It's an awesome league, and it's awesome fun racing.
Well, mate, for the last time this season, anyone you want to say hello to before we do let you go?
Just obviously big thanks to Brett for jumping in these last few rounds. I think he saw me, he saw what was on and jumped in and just helped with spotting a little bit and just let me know what info during the race. Just made it a little bit easier, just lighten the load a little bit of while I was driving. So really appreciate that from Brett. He's always been great with that support and everything, and obviously the whole team as well. They're a great bunch of guys, so big thanks to them for the support. Big thanks to obviously MC for putting on the league. It's been, as I said, it's been great fun, same as the V8 league. It's been an awesome time, so really enjoyed the racing. And big thanks to you guys as well with the broadcasts and showing everyone the great racing going on in the league.
Mate, it's been a pleasure, as always, to welcome you into the booth. We'll let you get on with it, and hopefully, I'll keep my fingers crossed that we're chatting again sometime soon, mate.
Yeah, I'm sure there'll be something I'll pop up again in, so yeah, see you then, man.
No worries. Thomas Inns there takes out second place in this season, and the man who is probably cheering more than any other right now, I reckon, he's been waiting a long time for this, and I might make him wait just a tiny bit longer. No, we won't drag it out too much longer. Reese Wakefield, welcome to the booth, mate, and a massive congratulations. You finally got the win in an MC championship. Oh, and I don't have your audio, mate. I hang on, hit the button. There you go.
I was on mute.
He's been on mute because he's been too busy cheering in the waiting room, just carrying on like a hooligan, hey?
It's just that last race was a lot. So trying to wind down from it, I guess. But look, we finally got it. We did it. 3 seasons and we did it. Couldn't be more stoked, to be honest.
Mate, very well deserved. It's been a massive season, hasn't it? There's been ups and downs all throughout it, but your consistency this season really what brought it home for you.
Oh yeah, 100%. I look at SimGrid and the standings after every week, and besides that last race, I'd finished in the top 5 every race. So I would like to dedicate this championship to my consistency, which is based on the upgrade. Last season I was driving on a Thrustmaster T300 RS. This season I managed to get myself a SimMagic Alpha U. Shout out to Ryan and Josh for helping me acquire this bad boy, and it's improved my consistency tenfold, and I think this season shows it.
Now, I've got to ask, you talk about acquiring it. It sounds a little less legitimate when you use the word acquire. And being that it's ADHD helping you out. Okay, just checking. ADHD helping you out with it is always a bit questionable, really, isn't it? And the next question on that front, of course, is how come they don't have the consistency then? What's the deal there, mate? What do you reckon?
That all comes down to talent, which they don't have. So, no, look, I mean, they did phenomenal this season. Like Palmer, Ryan's super quick, and he's up the pointy end of the grid almost every race. It's just unfortunate that some races he gets taken out. And Josh is just he is the pinnacle of consistency. Like, I know exactly what Josh is going to do when I'm behind him. He doesn't race to where you think you both are going to crash. He'll race you to a limit where he knows that both of you are content at competing at. So I'm happy to race against both of those boys day in, day out.
That's what we love about this series. It brings together a whole bunch of people who might never have crossed paths otherwise, and it ends up with just some brilliant racing as you guys do just get to know each other over the course of so many seasons, mate. It's as always been a massive pleasure to watch you finally get the championship win that you've so wanted for such a long time. A massive congratulations to you, mate. It's so well deserved, and it's been the result of just the biggest amount of hard work on your part as well. That consistency, so hard to come by. From your perspective, who else have you got to thank apart from the ADHD boys for getting you set up with the right gear? Who else is out there?
As per every week that I'm in here, all the boys at One Performance Racing. After going from Antic to OPR, I noticed that my skill level had improved a lot simply from driving with people quicker than I am. So huge shout out to everyone at OPR. They're always in mine and Danny's corner supporting us. Big shout out to everyone at MC, Mitch, Josh, Ryan, Nath, Isaac, everyone who works behind the scenes to put on such a great series every Monday and makes me want to come back every season. Shout out to Danny, my teammate. We go through a lot together, and we also come out on top together. So it's definitely a team sport between him and I. Shout out to my race engineer, Aaron, for all of our enduro races, making sure that I have enough fuel to finish the race. So that's pretty good. Also, big shout out to my biggest supporter, Amy. She's wonderful. She supports me from last season till now with every race that I do. She got me this. Look at this.
Oh, hang on.
A Suzuka.
Oh, look out.
Suzuka t-shirt
Nice
for
one.
tonight. So I'm
That's the secret sauce
big,
then.
Yeah, exactly. It's the secret sauce. So big shout out to her for always being in my corner, and big shout out to you guys putting this on and making me look spectacular than what I normally am. So
Mate, there's only so much we can do about your face, I'm sorry. But,
I do have one more thing before I go.
go on, fire away.
I have a shoe.
You've been waiting so long for this, haven't you, mate?
I've been waiting.
You've been waiting
so long.
so long. Well, hang on. Look, I think it's only appropriate then that we blow you up full screen on this here broadcast, and make sure we take this in what I'm sure is absolutely something very non-alcoholic and very appropriate, but
No, it's a Pepsi, so it's fine.
there you go. But Reece Wakefield, the most well-deserved shoey I think we've ever seen. Get it into you, mate. Disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. I don't know why people do it, but
Oh,
you
that's a
know
new
what?
shoe.
Yeah, oh, it's definitely not a new shoe. That's what he's been racing in, I guarantee it.
No, that's kind of been sitting in the room for at least 3 months without moving, so...
That's probably better than being just worn, so...
Yeah, I'd rather 3 months than just one. My feet aren't great.
Well, mate, it's a very, very well-deserved shoey, that one. And our congratulations on what has been a massive season for you, mate. Great to see you finally get the number one on the side of the car, and I really hope we're going to see you back to defend it next season.
Well, I was told that if I want the number one, I'm going to have to come back and compete next season. So it looks like you're stuck with me again for another season. So I will definitely be back next season.
Love to see it, mate. Thank you so much, as always, for stopping in to chat to us, and congratulations one more time on your championship win here in the French Car Care GT3 Championship. It's been a great season.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Reece
Congrats,
Wakefield takes the win and then celebrates in style, of course. And we'll save for the very last word on all of it. We go to the man himself, Mr. Mitchell Curry. Welcome to the booth, my friend.
G'day, fellas. How we doing?
Look, I'll be honest. We've seen what was a very, very well-deserved shoey. I'm feeling a little upset in the stomach right now just thinking about it, but that's me. It's certainly something that Reece has wanted to do for a long time, and I'm glad we got to share the moment with him. Mate, it's the end of not only the French Car Care GT3 Championship season, but also the end of a massive year of racing across MC Motorsport. I know you've had so much go on this year. It's been a huge year of ups and downs, and really more ups than anything across the MC series that we do put on each and every time. Tell us about your perspective on not just this season, but the year that was, and what's ahead for the league.
Oh, mate, we've had a massive year. We've had a lot on, that's for sure. And you've been there pretty well every step of the way, mate. So thank you very much for that, as per usual. But no, like this year we saw our first back-to-back champion in the previous series of GT3 with Jeremy Washington there. Unfortunately, Jeremy was unavailable for a lot of this season, so he would have been another one up there to give Reece a bit of a run. But no, big congratulations to Reece for finally securing that #1 on his car. I think he's been after that for a little while now. And a big congratulations to Chris Lashbrook as well. He's our inaugural GT3 Amateur Cup champion. So he's been extremely quick in the last half of the season. He's really picked up the iRacing bug and gone with it. But no, I think this season's been a massive success. The 10-round format definitely works really well. And, looking forward, I think we're going into a little bit of a break now for the Christmas period, the holiday period. We're going to organise another one of the 3-hour Enduros. We're looking to do that on December 13, I believe it is. It'll be a Saturday night. The track and cars are still to be confirmed, but the previous one we had last week at Bathurst was a massive success. We never got any negative feedback whatsoever from that. It's only positive. Everyone praised us for that, so it's always good.
I mean, hang on a second. I will take a moment to complain about ending up on my roof, but I don't know if I can put that on you, really, can I?
Mate, that sounds like very much a you problem. No, mate, it was good to see you actually on your own stream for once, mate. I thought that might have been an experience for you.
Bit different, kind of cool to watch it back. I'm hoping that next time around it might be with a bit less of a crash reel and a bit more of just some good fun racing. But that's all about a bit of skill development over time, isn't it?
100%, mate, 100%. You've been too long in the com box, mate. Not enough time behind the wheel.
I don't know. I still reckon I'm faster than I ever was when I first started racing with you boys. So that's something.
Oh, that's good then.
Well, let's talk about the future. What's to come next season?
Next season, we might as well announce it now. We're very, very close to securing it at the moment. But next season, we're going to be running 2 main series each week. So we're looking at doing V8 Supercars 4 seasons Monday night. So we'll have 4 10-round seasons. So basically year-round racing. And Wednesday nights, we're looking at doing GT3 for the same thing. So 4 10-round seasons, 2-week break. So we're really looking forward to trying to put that together. We're very, very close to doing that. It's just, a lot of admin stuff in the background just to make sure we can, get it covered, make sure we've got RC, sort of make sure we've got yourself as well on board. Just go from there, basically. We want to try and provide that platform for drivers that really do prefer the V8 Supercars or the GT3. And, it's a bit of a weird thing to go 3 months at MC and then all of a sudden we're into something you don't drive. So we're going to try and provide that platform that you can really just stick with us the whole time. If you like the V8, stay in the V8, and same with the GT3. So, but going forward, that's sort of our big announcement at the moment. But we're yet to 100% confirm that. But I'm going to say we're 90% there. We're 90% there.
Yeah, I'd be pretty surprised at this point if it doesn't come off, mate. And of course, as always, Simple Racing Broadcast will be right there alongside you to make sure that everyone gets an opportunity to take a look at it, because it's some of the best racing you'll find anywhere on the iRacing leagues, I reckon.
I appreciate that, mate. We've got some very, very talented drivers in here. as well as a lot of, I don't want to say the word mediocre because I'm very mediocre, but there's a lot of guys
There's
right
a nice
in
spread,
that
right?
mid-pack.
There's a nice spread.
It's a nice spread. There's a lot of guys right in that mid-pack. So there's racing, from top to bottom.
And we see that each and
everyone's
every week.
welcome. The only thing we really stipulate is your license is going to be C 1.0 in a sports car. Make sure you get that little bit of experience first. We don't just want you to jump in and all of a sudden there's chaos and stuff like that. Have a little bit of experience and then come and jump into the league scene and away we'll go. But, mate, if I can take the opportunity, just a massive thank you to yourself for, mate, the stream and the work in the background that you do. The stream itself, mate, is just phenomenal. I've never heard a bad word. I've only ever heard praise. Everybody rates your product massively, myself included, mate. So thank you, Biggles. Thank you, Isaac. Thank you, Reese. Thank you, Spud, for jumping into the Combox. I want to thank my admin team massively. Those guys do a huge amount of work behind the scenes. So thank you to all you guys. Our RC, our race control has been phenomenal. Like Nate, Isaac, Pete, and Scotty, those guys do a lot of work as well. So I think that's easily the hardest job with racing is doing the race control.
And the most thankless.
Absolutely, and absolutely. We had some really good words about race control last week for Bathurst. Like Nate did that all by himself and he was all over it. And then all this season with GT3, and he's been with us for a long time now, as well as Isaac, Pete. Scotty's been in and out, but he's back now, and we're super happy with our race control side of things. We do things a little bit differently here at MC. Some of our rules are more set up for, we'd rather see clean driving than, a massive dive bomb. It does look cool sometimes, but I'd rather see both drivers carry on and continue the race. So, some people like it, some people don't, but that's the way we designed it and it seems to be working so far. So, but other than that, thank you to all the drivers. Without you guys, this doesn't happen either. So just a massive thank you to you guys and everyone's partners. This does take a lot of time out of people's lives. I know it takes a lot of time out of my life, just trying to prepare and plan everything and make sure I've got everything sorted. My phone is pretty much Discord only these days, just trying to sort things out. And I'm just super appreciative of my partner Meg as well. She's very, very patient with me when it comes to Discord and the league. So no, I couldn't thank her enough for that as well. So I think that's about everyone I've got to thank. And if I have forgotten anybody, guys, I do apologise. I try and rattle off everyone I can think of. But no, thank you very, very much, gentlemen. Onwards and upwards for 2026.
Can't wait to see it. Thanks so much for dropping in, Mitch. Always a pleasure to chat, mate.
No worries, boys. Thanks very much. And Merry Christmas. Happy New Year to everybody.
Absolutely. You have a good one too.
Thanks, mate. Appreciate it.
Mitch Curry bringing us out to the end of the season. Isaac, before I wrap it all up, mate, any closing words or thoughts from you?
Oh, look, it's been a great season, hasn't it? And obviously we heard from Mitch there. It's going to be an amazing 2026. We're building for something really big here at MC Motorsport, and the product these guys create is second to none. So I'm really looking forward to hopefully having the opportunity to come back into the booth. I've really enjoyed my opportunity alongside yourself, Jared, and also Biggles as well. It's been quite a lot of fun. My first foray into commentating for iRacing, and it's been really enjoyable, and it's definitely some of the best racing that I've seen anywhere in sim racing. So I'm really looking forward to hopefully having the opportunity to come back and do some more of it, because it's been a lot of fun.
Oh, mate, cannot wait to have you back in the booth with me. Thanks so much for jumping in, and of course a huge thank you to Biggles, who's been in here alongside us throughout so much of this season as well, and I'm sure we'll be hearing more of him in the rounds to come. Mate, if that's all right with you, then I think we'll call it a night there, and we'll start to wrap it all up, hey?
Yeah, I think for one final time we should put the cap on it and go and have a well-deserved break before we come back in 2026.
Well, let's do it. Look, a massive thank you from all of us here at Simple Racing Broadcast to absolutely everybody involved with MC Motorsport and the league races along the way, to all of the sponsors, and of course especially to French Car Care for sponsoring this season 4 of the GT3 Championship. A huge bit of appreciation from us, because it makes it all possible, not just for the drivers, but for us here in the booth, getting to watch and call some pretty incredible racing right throughout the season. Tonight, of course, wraps up the story for the season, though. It's been a season of breakout drives, of comeback charges, of a couple of surprise winners here and there, Ryan Palmer. And of course, a bit of a pressure cooker towards the end for some of those last-minute points. From Interlagos to Zandvoort, from Barber here to here at Suzuka, I think every round really has delivered something just a little bit special, and we've had an absolute blast bringing it all to you. So thank you so much to everybody at home for tuning in live week after week. It's your support that keeps these broadcasts alive. And for us here at Simple, you are the real legends that make it all happen. Of course, we are not done for the year. We've got more still to come on the channel, as well as a couple of things that are due to be announced in the next week or so. So make sure you keep your eye on it. Don't miss anything. Do make sure you are subscribed to Simple Racing Broadcast, because we've got a bunch more racing coming, not just this week, but a couple more next week, and even a couple little surprise packets just before Christmas as well. So keep an eye out on that. Until next time, whenever that is, wherever it is, thank you so much for watching. Thanks for supporting, and we'll see you next time. Until then, though, it is goodbye for now.